Hello, listening people.
Hello?
You're listening to Spin Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Sliwinski.
And I am one of your hosts, but not the same one, Bartek.
Hello, Bartek. How are you?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
I am very well. We're doing the show Unappreciated Masterpieces, our weekly show in which we present feature-length audio commentary tracks for the movies that society, the critics, the audiences, the world, the universe, God, the devil has declared aren't worth talking about. These films aren't art, and we say, how dare you, all of those things that I just listed. These films are art. They are masterpieces of the unappreciated variety, and we talk about those movies in depth.
And we are incredibly brave for doing it if even the devil and God agree on something.
Yeah, no, exactly right.
It's like, is it good? Is it evil?
But Thor thinks they're good.
Thor? Oh, maybe, yeah.
No, he thinks every one of the films we've done is very, very good. He's down.
So you said but Thor, and I thought you said before, and I'm like, who's before? What?
Well, you know, but Thor.
Thor? What?
Bethora. The video game company Bethora.
Bethesda?
Yeah, that's it. You got it. They think all the things we've done are good. Bartek, we're spin Polish, likely because we're always spinning. We're both Polish. Okay, you just had to let that out. You're like,
I had to spit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I didn't know that was spitting. I thought that was you sneezing.
No, that's more like
Okay, yeah, I've heard you sneeze. It's not that. So, Bartek,
I've heard my dad sneeze.
Oh, that's a threat? My dad, a man who has several toilets and sneezes. You haven't met. You're right. You got me there.
If you have sensitive ears, it could be a threat.
So, Bartek, what's the film we're covering in this episode?
In this episode, we are covering the... I've seen online, it's either 2009 or 2010. They can't seem to...
I heard 2010.
Yeah.
I don't know what the film is until you tell me, but I heard
the internet
2010.
can't agree, but it's one of those two. The film Tekken.
Repeat that?
Tekken.
Tekken?
Yes.
Is this a video game movie we're covering?
How did you know?
Are we finally doing another video game movie?
Yes.
Are we doing Pokemon Detective Pikachu? Huzzah!
No, that's the most recent video game movie that I can
That we're
think
doing
of.
on the show, you're right. Nailed it.
Yeah,
So, are we doing Sonic the Hedgehog, finally? I know it comes out in, 4 years from now.
They still have to work on some of the aesthetics of the film,
Man,
let's say.
the aesthetics worked perfect the first time. They should have kept them. So, what are we actually doing?
Well, actually, Ryan, Tekken, I'm putting on a silly voice there, but actually, I'm not changing the word at all, if you listen carefully.
Oh.
If you were to edit my voice with Supertech, you'll find out that I'm just saying...
But your name's Bartek.
Sorry, Supertech's my
Not
secret
Supertech.
identity.
Yes, Supertech. I got you there.
Yes. Iron Man thinks he's Supertech, but no. We are doing Tekken.
Oh, Tekken?
Tekken.
From 2009?
Or 10.
Or 10. Is this the video game Tekken? From 2010 we're doing a game review? Or is this a movie?
I don't know if there was a Tekken game released in that year, but we're doing the film, the live-action adaptation.
Oh my god. Do we have an expert guest to help us along the journey of Tekken?
I think we do have a 10 Dan, or whatever they call those high-ranking...
I don't know what that means.
Dan is a level of martial artist or something.
Yes, I do know.
I can't remember if 10 Dan
I thought
is
this was
the
a Tekken.
high one
I
or the
thought this
low
was a
one.
Tekken reference.
In some games there are rankings like that, but
Not in this.
so that's the
So
first
who's
thing
our
you've
guest?
learned. Our
Mister?
guest in this episode is Tekken expert Stephen Bartlett.
Actually, it's called Tekken Lord.
Tekken. Lord.
Tekken Lord, my mistake.
Yeah, you are right in that Dan goes higher and higher, and then it just starts
Okay.
going to a bunch of random words like
So
warrior.
10 Dan's actually
Genbu.
very low ranked.
Yeah.
Okay, my mistake.
10 Dan's
That's
quite...
us then.
10 Dan also would have a separate name like Warrior or Genbu. They just, once it goes past 4, they have random names that aren't necessarily in linear order, but they just decide they are.
But
So they're very edgelord if you were to bring
my
them through
big
life.
question is, you're Stephen Bartlett. Is it spelled with a V or PH?
PH.
Wow, that's a weird way to spell Bartlett, but okay.
Yeah. Got him.
Bartflit.
Wong! I got it. Stephen spelled with PH, like my father. Are you my dad?
Well, Bartek's my dad, so the family tree here is...
It's more shrub. Alrighty.
It's funny because he's 3 months older than me.
Yum.
Don't question science.
Well, it's more, not science. Biology is what I'm specifically going down.
Well, shots fired at biologists.
Take that.
Not a real science.
So, you people listening, have to have a copy. You people.
Listening people.
Or animals. I don't know. There could
That's
be pets
true.
listening to this.
I have talked to cows before.
Moo. Do they speak Polish? Which I don't, by the way.
No, but there's a Polish superstition that animals... I think I've mainly heard about cats, but animals do understand Polish.
I was going to say, you should have got the Polish translation for the word Iron Fist. And then pass that off as Tekken. Because,
I've really iron-fisted us here.
Yeah, oh boy, we're bloody afterwards. So listening people, you have to have your copy of the 2009/10 movie, because no one knows, of Tekken, because we have a copy, you should have a copy. We're going to discuss this film in length, spoilers and all, and for the games, I guess, too, because this is a video game movie, so obviously we're going to be talking about the lore of the Tekken games. So, spoiler alert for Tekken 3, people, you've had 20 years. 20 years? At least, let's say 18 years.
The original Tekken was on the PS1, so it definitely...
I had Tekken 3, and I remember playing it when I was like 6 years old, so I must have been at least 6.
Yeah, so
20 years.
So that means the franchise is definitely older than 20.
Get your copy, because I'm going to do a countdown from 3. I'm going to go down to 1. I'm going to say play. You're going to press play, and we'll be lined up as we speak about Tekken. So get ready, because we're going to start this in 3, 2, 1, play. Tekken, play. Now...
3, 2, 1, fight. Since it's a fighting game film.
Oh, 3, 2, 1, dance! It's a Hey, has there ever been a Dance Dance Revolution type Tekken game?
No, but there is a club scene later on in here.
Oh, yes, there is.
To give some inspiration for perhaps a future title.
They should have got, on PlayStation 2, what was the name of the little gizmo that you had to get so that...
iToy?
The iToy. They should have done an iToy version of Tekken, where you have to dance along and try and hit people.
Well, there definitely have been stages set in entertainment venues.
Certainly have the personnel for it. There's a few dance fighters, some very athletic people.
Oh yeah,
the capoeira fighters.
Yeah,
that's right. Now, this film exists, and I'm gonna just say straight off the bat, I was very surprised when the little intro logo comes up, like the 3 weird little crystals or whatever they were. The logo.
Like the first thing you see.
And then it comes straight into the movie, and I thought there were more logos, like it was a globe at night, and I was like, oh, and there was no music, no nothing. I'm like, oh, this is like a logo, and then I just hear a thick Asian Englishman's voice going. Yeah. 8 years ago, and I'm like, what? It's like the world collapsed, and I'm like, what's going on?
Do you want to?
Is this a weird Universal thing that happened in 2010, where it's just like Universal? It's like 10 years ago, and the world collapsed.
There should be an opening logo company that like has an opening narration just to trick people.
Yeah, they're very tricky. So this film does a very brave thing. It does the showing us the events that are going to happen. At the very beginning, a little prologue, if you will.
Yeah, you're right.
And
like
then,
a preview.
And then it tells you 5 days earlier. So this film takes place in 5 days. Just to remind you all.
Yeah. Shorter than Thunderpants, even.
Shorter than Thunderpants.
Which probably isn't saying much, because a lot of people who don't think when watching that assume it happens over a long period of time.
It's a week.
Yeah. So I remembered quite a lot about this before watching it again last night.
Oh, good.
One thing I didn't remember was that they randomly had a montage at the start.
Yep.
Playing, I think, Sick Puppies, You're Going Down.
Yes, it was.
And I also didn't remember specifically at the start that our fighter, Jin, from our fighting game movie... was a runner, which is very much like the game Mirror's Edge. And Jin also quite looks like the main character from those games, despite being a man, and the character from those games is a woman.
That's a good observation, actually.
He looks exactly like the main character, despite, being a human, man.
What's her name? Like Faith?
Faith Connors. I mean, our friend Jin doesn't have a surname for a while, and he also has a British accent, so...
Yeah. Which is because the actor has a British accent, because he's
half
British...
Chinese. I think it was half Chinese, half Irish.
And he's British, but then he's half Irish, half Chinese, so he's not even Japanese.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
which is what his character's supposed to be. But this movie, all the trivia is basically telling you how all ethnicities are wrong.
Everything's wrong except Eddie Gordo, who apparently
I appreciate that.
Who was a fan, like the fans demanded this guy play him, and he's there for like barely a hot second, and he's gone.
Yeah, he gets beaten, but at least he does capoeira. I always thought that was one of the most interesting styles in the games.
Oh, there you go. So, Bartlett, Stevie, can I call you Stevie?
Yes, so you can call me the Bartlett with the PH if you can remember how to pronounce it.
Bartlett.
Bartlett.
So, Bartlett, you just
PH.
announced that you do have a history with this movie. You have seen it before having to rewatch it. What was that? Did you see it in the cinema?
No, it is... I don't buy many movies on DVD. Most of my DVDs are TV shows.
Of course, of course.
And then most of the movies I do buy on DVD, which you may have some experience with this, it's
Yep.
from cash converters,
Oh,
pawn
yeah.
shops. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I have exactly 3 DVDs that I bought close to full price from a normal store like JB.
Yep,
They're all equal blockbusters.
of course.
Batman the Dark Knight,
Oh, yes.
Spider-Man 3,
The best one.
yep, and Tekken the cinematic picture. Cinematic.
This is when you bought full price.
Close to.
Close
Because,
to. There was a sale on that
there's-
day.
An unappreciated masterpiece.
Yes, I'd say those are all in the same tier of, fanfare blockbusters.
One did
Oh, yeah.
win an Oscar for a performance, so yeah.
And,
What,
yeah,
what's Tekken?
Yes.
I mean, I would guess...
Heath Ledger did really well in this.
Yeah.
Steve Goss did a really good job in this.
Steve Goss? Luke Goss.
Luke Goss. Sorry, I was
friends.
combining his character's name
Yeah.
of Steve Fox.
Luke
They
Fox.
are similar. Steve Fox, Luke Goss.
I mean, can we just call him Goss Fox? The Goss Fox.
That's a good name.
On the other hand, did not know that this film existed. Every single time I looked at our film list and Bartek put this there, I just kind of waved my hand and went, nah, that's not real. like, no, I must be reading that wrong. It must be Mortal Kombat or something. Because, everyone knows that there's these live-action version of video game movies,
Yeah.
and we all know the classic ones like Super Mario Brothers and the Mortal Kombats and Prince of Persia, and all these,
Yeah.
there's, the big hit is recently Assassin's Creed. I have never heard anyone talk about the Tekken movie ever being raised in any of these. I've heard people talk about Dead or Alive before I've heard
yeah.
this.
Yeah, it was
I'd say
bigger in
it's-
it was bigger in the discourse more around the time it came out. After a while, yeah, it got forgotten.
So you're telling me there's Tekken Erasure?
What's that a reference to?
I'm just saying.
Oh,
there's
it's
also-
Erasure. Sorry, the subtitle or something. It's like, is there a film with Erasure in the subtitle? Like,
No,
what's-
there-
Are you
there's
telling
not.
me that the third movie in this series is Tekken Erasure, in which
It's a
they have to
pretty metal
erase
title.
they have to erase Tekken from history? They time travel. That
There's
would be
also-
great.
There's also some confusion because there's a very old animated movie
Oh no.
yeah,
Is it-
from the 90s, the motion picture it's
Yes.
called, but it's an OVA.
where Heihachi destroys an axe with his mouth.
That's the only thing I know.
I don't know
from
what that means.
So a character throws a tomahawk at him, he catches it with his teeth, grips his teeth on it, and it shatters.
Okay, that's
They really
more
should have tried to
awesome.
stunt in this.
That's
Like,
more awesome than you just described. I thought it hit his lips and it just broke, and I was like, oh,
No, he
great.
caught it with his
that,
teeth and
that
crushed
kind
it.
of
He
comedy
ate. He
wouldn't
ate
be
an
out of
axe.
place.
Yes, basically.
He ate an axe. Okay. I did not know this existed.
Hmm.
Bartek tried to reassure me by saying, "Oh, it's got the guy who's not Sting in it from The Man," and I'm like, "What does he play?" The well-known
Coincidentally-
American boxing character Steve Fox, and I'm like, "Oh, so he's an American in this?" And you just looked at me blankly and went, "I don't know."
I haven't seen the film, but I knew it made changes.
So Luke Goss is American, the actor.
No, he's British.
No, he's
Okay,
British.
well,
I
no,
believe.
that's correct then, because Steve Fox is British.
Oh, he is British. You gave
Yes.
me the impression that he was like the American
Fact-
boxing type.
He is a boxer.
All right, I just must have assumed he was American. I don't think of British and boxing in the same sentence.
He's not only British; his entire in-game lingo is just like very British
Well,
slang.
he
so it's
uses
like-
that to effect here. He says wanker a lot.
Yeah, but in the games, after he wins a fight, he's generally like, "Oi, oi, you want to try me, gov?"
Does he have a Union Jack on his body somewhere?
I believe so. Like sometimes he wears boxing shorts with the Union Jack.
Of course.
Yes,
He may
that's
have,
right, yeah.
He may have boxing gloves like that as well.
Yes.
All I associate with him is in battle, his voice work is basically shoo, shoo, like
Oh,
when
yeah.
he weaves and stuff.
Yeah,
one
that's,
thing-
that's tactic.
The one thing I find interesting about our friend Luke Goss, Steve Fox in this
Yes.
is his gloves in this, his old gloves,
He's power gloves.
are actually Jin's gloves in the games. So
Nice.
the movie implies that all along he's just had Jin's gloves to
Or-
box.
Which is funny
fight.
because Jin appeared in the franchise before him, right?
Yes.
Or maybe in this universe he is Jin, and Jin grows up to be him and travels back in time
I think we
to
can.
help himself train.
I think we can all appreciate the bold artistic liberties taken with the source material here.
Yeah. I mean, in the source material, which we'll get into in a sec, but Bartek, you hadn't seen this movie before.
No.
So you had heard of it, though.
I have a history in the sense that there's a...
That Bartlett bought it on DVD and told you that he bought it? Is that your history with the game?
No,
the
no.
movie
So,
game.
there was a guy on the internet. He's technically still there, but if you look into him, a lot of people say he's gone. He's called the Spoony One. He used to do game and movie reviews, and I remember he reviewed, like, I think the 3 Tekken films that existed at that time. There was the anime one, there was this one, and then the one that was made.
He reviewed this one with Film Brain, yes?
Yes, he did.
I watched it in prep for
Oh, you
this.
did? Yes.
I
So
did.
I saw that way back in the day when that was released. So I remembered a few things from that, but I haven't really thought about it much since. But then when we're ending Unappreciated Masterpieces soon, we're putting the final films, I thought, oh, you know what? When we did Video Game Month last year, we didn't really do any Japanese video games.
Excuse me.
Excused.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right, we didn't do any. We did, what, the closest one was what?
I don't
Hitman?
know. I don't know, but I'll give you give credit to that
Geographically.
though. When I looked up all the films that we did, they were all from developers from different countries, so it was a good range.
Yeah, I mean, we did a French one that was Assassin's Creed,
yes, Ubisoft.
I feel like there's a special genre of Japanese game properties, but
Yeah.
the movies are made in America.
right? Oh, yes.
Yes.
Just Japanese properties where movies are made in America. The highest standard, of course, is Dragon Ball Evolution.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one that a lot of people are comparing it to, even though it's not from a video game. But
I mean-
Japanese property.
I would say this movie actually is a lot more faithful than that one. Like
Oh, yes.
some of
I've
the
heard, yeah.
I've
the-
seen both.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't. Wow.
some of the characters at least look alike. You've got the company, the fighting tournament.
Yeah, I'd
You
say
know.
with Heihachi, obviously he doesn't quite look like the character, but he looks a bit like if the character merged with like Mr. Miyagi or something.
He
Yeah.
looks awesome. He looks great. I saw him and I actually said, oh, I know we're in a video game movie now. Because he looks like a video game character.
He's got the hair, but it's
Yeah,
just on a smaller scale.
Well, that's okay,
Yeah.
because the movie doesn't want to go for too over the top. Can I share with you the one trivia fact that enlightened me in this
Yes,
watching of it?
please.
What's the name of our son here, Evil Son?
Kazuya.
Kazuya has never had a mustache in any of the video games.
Yep.
But here's the full trivia. He's never had a mustache in any of the video games. While in the film, yes. That's what it says. That's what it says on IMDb.
I read
While
Eagle
in
Eye.
the film, yes.
I read all of the trivia, and there were some funnily
no
written ones.
punctuation. Well, in the film, yes. It's all one sentence, no commas, nothing. It's just yes. And I had to share that immediately because it was the funniest one I read. I was like, well, in the film, yes. It's not even a mustache, it's a goatee.
Yeah, it's
He's got a full goatee. Would you say, like, maybe if he had a separation from the mustache and, like, the chin, but he has, like, a proper goatee that connects, and you wouldn't say, and he's got such a connection that you can't even tell where the mustache and the rest
where it ends, where it starts.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like it's a full-on goatee. So even the trivia's wrong. It's just like, yeah, I guess in the games he didn't have a mustache, nor did he in this movie. He had a full goatee.
Given everything we know about this movie, I do wonder if that was the actor's demand to be
Oh,
included
yeah.
in this movie. I demand I keep my own
Maybe
facial
maybe
hair.
in Tekken 8 they'll reference it, and like in his ending he'll have the full-on thing he has
This
in this.
movie does reference the games like kind of directly a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
I can say that now. When we get to it, I can bring it up. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there are a few Easter eggs, let's say.
Well,
Oh,
that's
cool,
what
yeah.
fans would want, Easter eggs, not direct
Yes,
interpretations.
Yeah, there are some differences. Like, this is set in a dystopian world, whereas in the games, the corporation is called the Mishima Zaibatsu,
Yeah.
which is their last name. The tournament's called the King of Iron Fist Tournament,
Not Tekken.
not Tekken. And
So where does Tekken factor in?
Tekken, I don't even know if the word is mentioned in any of the story stuff in the games.
Yeah,
but-
like I'm not. There are some maybe experts watching this who'll get angry with me, the supposed expert, but
I suppose expert.
I did.
relative to us, you're the
Yes,
expert, yes.
in this movie, the word Tekken does come up a lot more than I recall in the games.
It's like
Yeah,
every
it's-
2 seconds almost.
It's the name. It's the name of the company.
Yeah, the
Yes,
company.
But it's
yeah.
but also what you said is still also the name of the company. Like what you just said, they also say in
the
this.
Mishima Zaibatsu.
Yeah, they also say that in this. So
Okay.
it's like they try to have it both ways.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
like
it's
the name of the
bold.
company
Yeah.
that's in charge of America is Tekken, but I guess the subsidiary or like the overarching family company that's in charge of that is what you said.
Yeah, the Mishima
I believe it's
Zaibatsu.
also easy to understand for newer viewers, if there are any that haven't played
Yeah.
the games.
It's like, why is it called Tekken? Why do they never say it? Well,
Yeah.
here you go. We say it a lot.
Boom. Now, can I tell you my embarrassing admission for this movie?
Sure.
It took me far too long to realize that the actor of what was the villain's name again?
Kazuya, yes.
Was Asian. I just kind of looked at him and went, Is he white? I couldn't, because the lighting around him always put him in stark shadows, and he looked like a very American type actor because his accent, he didn't have really an accent. He had a real American kind of, and he's an American actor, but I
believe he's only half Japanese.
Yeah,
though,
so he is partly Asian. So I kind of was like halfway through the movie, I was like, is he Asian? Because he looks
his name's
far
Ian,
less Asian than his father.
His name is Ian Anthony Dale.
Exactly. He's far less Asian than the father in this, who's strictly very Asian. Like he's got everything going on that you would expect. It's also because his character, because he is wearing like suits and he's not really got the Asian aesthetic going as much. Like, look at him here. Like, obviously now I can tell a bit more, but there was parts of the movie where it's like, the movie has really stark, stark dramatic shadows and lighting and stuff, where it's a little bit more difficult to tell. And I guess because we never know who his mother is in this, I assume maybe his mother's white. Who knows? Because this is a movie where our main actor guy is half Irish, half Chinese, speaks with a British accent. It's a lot of weird ethnicity stuff going on.
Even in the games, Kazuya's mother wasn't really explored until a game after this movie.
Oh, so you could say
the most recent entry.
Yeah.
So you could say the movie kind of
worked with what it had.
Yeah, worked with what it had, and maybe the movie's lacking of that mother plot kind of pushed the game series to push that mother plot. Interesting. So, Bartek,
yes,
are you a huge Tekken gamer? Are you a big fan of them?
I'm not a big fighting game player, but if I do play one, or if I think of one that I would say that I follow, I probably would pick Tekken because I grew up playing the first one a little bit.
Yeah.
I've heard things about later entries, and I'm kind of familiar with the main story. And I'm friends with Stephen here, who's played all of them. He's been playing Tekken 7 in the past few months.
Yes.
We play the bowling minigame a lot,
which is sadly absent from this movie.
Yes, it's the one thing it was missing. So I am somewhat familiar. I could pick out a lot of changes. I think I don't quite remember what Jin's motivation is in Tekken 3, which is the one where he first appears. So I don't know how much.
Oh, is that because his mum dies?
Wasn't it a thing with Jun, the mum, that she kind of disappears after Tekken 2, and they don't really talk about what happens with her?
My memory of Jin's motivations is better in the newer games than the older ones, but I believe it had something to do with his mother. And of course,
his mum's.
Daddy Kazuya was absent in Tekken 3 as well.
Because I do know that in a later game, I think Tekken 5, they introduced a character called Asuka Kazama, and she basically has the mum's fighting style. She's like a replacement, I guess. So
it's not secretly the mum wearing a hood or something.
Well, she's a young girl, so.
Oh, that's what I mean. I'm getting clarification. It's not like it's like a masked fighter, and there's it's the mum all along.
No.
Because that's such a video game thing too.
Apparently, she's like a distant cousin to Jin or something, but I don't think they interact much, so I don't know.
There is a ending, I think, Tekken 5, where Jin accidentally grabs her boobs, and she has the typical lash out.
She smacks him, and
that's
what this film was missing.
So for everyone that doesn't know, in the Tekken games, it's with the story. It's when you pick a character, you play through their arcade mode, and you get cutscenes with them, and they have an ending. Those endings can be anything from intense to joke comical endings. But with every game, there's always one of them is the canon one that will be followed up in the next game. So I guess technically there are a lot of timelines in Tekken.
Yeah, this is just one of many.
And we just missed that he opened up a little hand-sized box, and it had some creepy little dolls in there, and then he moved those little dolls out of the way to grab a picture of his mum.
Yeah, but the thing that I was getting with is that Tekken's got a big roster, and one of the consequences of that is that there are a lot of characters that I don't think have ever interacted, and sometimes they have characters that they're more associated with. So for example, there's a character, Martial Law. He's
he's in this.
He's basically a Bruce Lee character, but in this he's just an arrogant fighter guy. He's a bit more of a joke character. He interacts with some characters. He doesn't.
I mean, his name's Martial Law.
Yeah, he doesn't really interact with
the best name, by the way.
With the main characters, the Mishima characters. There's also like joke characters like the boxing kangaroo and the velociraptor. No. They don't really get in.
I was waiting for them to appear.
Yeah. They don't really get in on the main story. So it's an interesting thing of like, how do you adapt a true Tekken film if there are characters that inherently are not involved in like the mainest of the plot?
I do believe we all missed out by them not having a panda or a brown bear and training them to fight somehow.
Yes. And the bear is really associated because it's Heihachi's bodyguard or something.
Yeah. I mean, they could have at least done that. They could have had a bear just stand next to Heihachi, maybe.
Yeah, not explain it. It. It stands on his hind legs and just like looking at him like it's an animatronic bear, like a country bear. It's playing a guitar. Now, my history with the Tekken games is I owned Tekken 3. I don't think I ever played it for the story.
Yeah.
I remember I played it a lot because it was like that violent game we had. Because, the other games were like your normal Crash Bandicoots and Spyro.
Well, on the PlayStation 1, I'd say it's probably the most popular fighting game.
Yeah, Tekken 3. I've never heard anyone else... When it comes to Tekken, in my universe, I've never heard anyone talk about Tekken outside of Tekken 3. Like, everyone's like, yeah, Tekken 3.
That's the one a lot of people point to for nostalgia.
That's the big boy in the Tekken franchise. And I remember the one I played as was King the most. And, Stephen, you'll be very happy to know. It was only a few weeks ago, through Bartek just telling me that I'm pretty sure 20 years of my life was under the assumption that King was a man with a tiger head.
Yeah.
Not a mask that was a tiger.
I believe
I always thought, oh good, there's a man in this universe that's got a tiger for a head.
There are a lot of crazy things in the game, but he's just a guy, yes.
Yeah. He's just a man, and I was upset that he wasn't in this movie. He was like the one I played as, and I was like, oh, so when's King gonna show up? Like
he's
they
been around
introduced
since...
all the fighters they had, and I'm like, but when's King gonna show up? Who cares about
He's been around
this
since
guy?
the first game, so that was precedent. And also, I'm pretty sure I told you that when you were living at the old place.
Well, I just probably didn't. I probably didn't believe you.
Yeah, maybe.
You were like, oh, King's not a guy with a tiger. I'm like, classic Bartek.
To be honest, I'm sure...
He's always saying, Ryan, things aren't the things that you believe them to be. And I'm like, you're very
I'm
funny.
pretty sure I thought the same thing.
There's also an Armor King, who is...
Yes.
Has the grey head, I suppose.
Yeah.
And a darker tanned body.
Of course, because he's armoured.
Yes, except his armour is not practical, because I guess that's illegal in the fighting tournaments.
Of course. Except for if you're a samurai guy.
Or if you're Brian Fury, but in this movie, they make it illegal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. They make it hidden, as if no one can see the...
Wow, he just took that punch like it was metal or something.
Well, it's because Brian Fury has a lot of anger issues going on, and people just don't want to question it.
Are you saying the guy with Fury for a last name has anger issues?
No, I was talking about Brian. Just that's the part that's like, it's clearly like my name, but with a B in front.
It's if you and I fused.
All things considered, I think they chose a pretty good actor for Brian Fury. Considering who they chose for other characters. They chose a really big guy, looks the part.
He seemed angry.
Yep.
Can I tell you another great faux pas I had with this? Having no history with Tekken games, they obviously do the old, I don't know who my father is, and I'm like, oh, okay, so someone in the movie is going to be his dad, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. For most of this entire feature-length film, until it actually got to the reveal, I thought Brian Fury was his father.
Mm-hmm.
Because it made me... Because they introduced Brian Fury as the last boxer, last fighter, and he's, the oldest one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, story-wise, you could have it, I thought story-wise it was going to be Brian Fury's his dad, and his dad is stuck in Tekken, having to do the rounds, and he's a crazy evil guy, and he would have to fight his own son at the end.
I guess that's a good benefit for you, because for Stephen and I, we would have known, oh yeah, it's Kazuya in the game, so it's probably going to be Kazuya here, but...
Also, because the actor clearly has something, of our main character, Jin. It's just a lot of ethnicity things. He's clearly, something's going on with the British accent. I don't know what's going on. And I'm
For a while,
it
I
could
thought
be,
he was Australian.
literally anyone could be his father. They could have said Steve Fox is his dad, and I would believe you.
It was Anna Williams.
Huh?
With the British accent as well.
Yeah, Steve Fox could have been the dad. He should have been the dad. If Steve Fox was like, I'm your father. He's like, why did you leave me? How it is. It's like, no, I don't. You had to teach me that.
Speaking of Steve Fox and parenthood,
Yeah.
one of the only reasons I ever remember that Stephen has seen and even owns a DVD of this film is that if we talk about Tekken or just bring up a character, he'd just bring up the fun fact that, like, oh, in this movie, Steve Fox is older than Nina, one of the two assassins, whereas in the games, she's his mother.
Oh.
Yeah, it is a weird thing that, like, Nina doesn't age in the games, and Steve Fox is like her weird science son using her DNA. So
Right.
there is that, but it's still weird that in this game, Nina and Anna are like borderline random floozies, very young.
Oh, yeah.
And Steve Fox is this veteran, 40-something-year-old man, Luke Goss.
Does Luke Goss look like Steve Fox?
Not particularly. He's much older than Steve Fox looks like.
And apparently Steve Fox, I haven't seen his hair in a long time, but everyone's like, he's got long blonde hair.
Oh, does he?
But in my head,
Poor Luke Goss.
I'm kind of mixing him up with Brian Fury a little bit in my head, because I haven't seen Steve Fox, the video game version, in a long time.
Oh, poor Bartek.
Yeah, I
You
know.
sound broken up, but I haven't seen him in a very long time.
I lost my breath.
He's kind of like my father in a way. Like I haven't seen him in a long
Well, I
time
kinda-
either.
All I remember is the shoo, shoo,
And the sneezes of my own father.
And the fact that
that's a threat.
and that he never kicked me because he doesn't know how to kick.
Who, your dad?
Well, Steve Fox.
That's Steve Fox. Yeah, he doesn't know how to kick. You told me that.
Yeah, his kick, if you press the kick buttons on him, he weaves to those
I mean, they
songs.
needed someone to be Jin's mentor and give him Jin's own boxing gloves,
Yeah.
power gloves. So I guess Steve Fox is fine.
No, Steve Fox seems like a good choice. It seems like I would have preferred King, but like we can't get King. Apparently, maybe that's for the sequel, Kazuya's Revenge. Maybe King is like the bodyguard in that one, and he's got a bear as well. I don't know.
Maybe one
Was
of
King a good guy or a bad guy?
he was a good guy.
pretty
In
good.
fact,
Okay,
I read
then he would be the hero of Kazuya's Revenge. He would be the one getting the revenge put upon him by Kazuya.
I did read that while there is like the main story with the Mishimas in the games, and that's the true canon you follow, there is sort of a subplot going on throughout the games with King and the characters he's associated with. So there's like a whole, mentor dying plot going on there. King has died at some point and been replaced by a king too, and I think Armor King as well. So I guess if you want to pick a secondary main character, you could justify King in that sense.
King has I suppose, beef with a really
The
large,
Australian one,
Yeah, a
yeah.
large Australian man named Bartek, who,
Oh.
if he was going to be in this movie, I believe he would have been played by, I think his name's Nathan Jones or something. He's a former wrestler, very
Okay.
tall, bald man.
They should pick Dwayne Johnson, because Marduk has like darker skin, right?
Yeah, they could have picked Dwayne
Oh,
Johnson.
right. I thought you were going to be the hero and say they should have chosen...
I'm gonna be King.
No, they should have chosen the guy from Fat Pizza who was in the Scooby-Doo
Oh,
movie.
him, yes.
I can't remember what his name is, but...
I'll remember it in a
Although
few minutes.
if you can manage to get Dwayne the Rock Johnson for this movie, you may as well have him play Jin because he's the people's champion.
No, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, out of all these ones, he should have played Panda. I mean, he would have been great. Like, it's just him in a panda costume.
I really liked this
Oh, the bot?
sequence.
Yeah, of course you did. Of course
no.
you did, you sick bird.
Well, I liked it because...
Bartek's like, I really like the sex sequence.
Well, actually, funnily
is-
enough, of the three characters, the two women and the men, I was going to talk about the man, but
Of course, I know.
because
Go on.
we have Sigmund Freud.
he's in them.
You know where I'm going with this.
Oh, I know,
of
but
course.
I like the idea that Sigmund Freud starred in this movie and he's just sitting there in the corner. Like, he's like
Serious
fucking
face.
these two women and there's Sigmund Freud going, oh my, yes indeed.
There's that theory.
Ticking off boxes.
There's that theory related to his works that a lot of most actions are motivated by sex, but here we have a character who is gonna have a threesome or a three-way, depending on how you prefer it.
Yes.
Because I remember I used to say three-way a lot, but now I'm kind of all over the place.
Well, three-way sounds more like this all happened like in one
More
go,
bureaucratic kind of thing, yeah.
No, threesome sounds more wholesome. Like,
Yeah, I
like
remember
you guys have
we had
planned
that
this,
discussion once.
and three-way sounds like you, and you're gonna fuck now, and they're like, yeah, we had a three-way. Well, it's like, what did you have last night? Oh well, Betty and Jean and I got together and we had a nice threesome. Like, it sounds more wholesome. Like, it sounds like it was planned.
Yep. So this is a man who he's about to have some sex with two women,
But then his dad shows up.
and all he can think about is his ambitions for his company, which goes against that theory. And I think that says a lot of deep things about our antagonist.
Yeah, I also liked in the movie we never got an explanation of how he got that scar. They just didn't need to explain it. Like, I was waiting for that moment where he was like, I fought in the Tekken, and I got this scar, I know. Like, you know how in movies they have to explain things like that?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that, I think of Doom. Doom changed...
Well, that had Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
It did, yes. That's not even the connection I was going to make, but...
It also had a panda.
That game...
It didn't, but imagine.
That game took liberties in the sense that in...
The game or the movie?
The movie.
It
took liberties... Well, it took liberties from the source material, which is the games, that... In the games, the villains were demons from
hell.
From hell, and in the movie, they were aliens.
Kinda, yeah.
And it still kind of worked because, you know...
They made it more sci-fi than fantasy. They made
it
it more purely sci-fi than sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah, and one of the things that this movie didn't touch on is the supernatural element of the main characters. They have, in the Mishima bloodline, a devil gene.
I read all about this in the trivia.
Yes.
Everyone but Heihachi, pretty much.
And it's one of the things...
Is it because he's already the devil, or...?
I think they imply it kind of just passed through and he's like really annoyed about it. That's pretty much the conflict for the games. All you need to know.
That's one of the things I'm not too familiar on in the lore, but that's his motivation in one of the games, right? To get the devil gene from
his father has a devil gene, and then his son and grandson has it, but it's kind of slipped through him, so he's not very fond of it.
Now, you know what? I never actually thought about that. Yeah, I remember his grandfather. He's in Tekken 5, and Kazuya and Jin have it. I never really thought about Heihachi. I guess because I didn't play Tekken 3.
He has to rely on his old man strength to compete with all these supernatural demons
and
robots.
And he kicks their asses, of course.
A lot of the time he does, yeah.
Well, you know what? He is one of 4 characters that has appeared in every single Tekken game.
Do you get to play as him?
Yeah, and like I said, every game he's
I wasn't too sure if he was like the antagonist you have to fight at the end, and then once you do that, you get to play as him.
In Tekken 1 and 4, that is the case.
Oh, okay,
He
cool.
is the antagonist.
Cool.
Yes, he's a very interesting character. In fact, the PlayStation knockoff of Super Smash Bros., which was called PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, had him as a playable character, and I think one of the Soul Caliburs also had him.
And I believe that game also had his bear friends, Kuma, as an attack.
Kuma as an attack.
But did it have Luke Goss as Steve Fox? That's my big question. Are you sure?
The only one.
Are you sure?
I wonder if Steve Fox has appeared in like non-Tekken games.
No, I meant Luke Goss.
Oh, Luke Goss, sorry.
As Steve Fox.
What was the fusion name we come up with? Was it Steve Goss?
It was Goss Fox.
Goss Fox.
It was Goss Fox. So I really like this sequence.
Brad Rudd level of name.
Yeah, I really like this sequence here where they're showing, fighters all training, and it's showing you before they get into the ring what their fighting styles are going to primarily be. You know, like we have Brian Fury here. He's lifting weights. We know his is going to be more
all natty.
Yeah, it's going to be really a lot of arm boxing kind of top build kind of work. He's and same with was it Raven right
Raven,
there?
yes.
He's here we are, a lovely lady. She's going to be a lot of like more like nuanced kind of Zen kind of
yoga-ish kind of
thing.
thing.
Exactly.
Tai Chi martial art?
Sure. I mean, why not?
I'd say Raven was kind of an interesting choice for this movie, since in the games he is teleporting ninja assassin.
He's like a modern day
ninja. Zips all over the place.
But in the trivia, the one point of contention they had was in the game he wears black. In this, he wears a jaunty silver outfit.
Yeah.
That was like the big complaint, according to the trivia.
Not sure that's a fair complaint, considering compared to everything else or a lot of other things, the actor they chose is really good. Like, he really looks like the character in the game.
He was fun. I kind of missed him at a point in the movie. I was like, bring him back.
I remember because, I grew up on Tekken 1 and I was vaguely familiar with a lot of it. And then at some point, we got Tekken Dark Resurrection, which was an update of Tekken 5 on the PSP. So suddenly there was a bigger roster in front of me.
Hey, you remember the PSP?
Yes, I do. I just brought it up.
God, it seemed like decades ago at this point.
Yeah,
I remember very vividly there was ads for the PSP where it was like a kid was playing like some game on it, and it was happening in the real world, and he was like on a school bus, and I just remember that very vividly, and I was like, oh, is that a real game? It wasn't.
Yeah, but I remember like seeing all these new characters. Raven really stuck it to me, like, oh, I kind of have seen a lot of these characters online on the internet, so I've never seen this Raven character, and he was very interesting. He's like a special agent with like modern ninjutsu and teleporting. It was really interesting.
Now,
there are a few characters in this game from games that, or in this movie from games that were very close to it, like Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection and Tekken 6 were both relatively...
Dark Resurrection was the one that introduced the Russian guy, Dragunov.
Yeah, and I think it has one character from Tekken 6.
Yeah, Miguel. That one is beyond me, but I have heard the name.
Yeah, in this one he gets his ass kicked very early on.
Yes, he does.
And we never see him again.
In the games, his motivation is actually against Jin for Jin killing his sister accidentally or supposedly.
Okay.
Oh, well, in this movie, he's just an asshole.
Oh, well, hold on, he's introduced in Tekken 6 and Jin's the antagonist in that one, right?
Yeah. So
wow,
there is
Jin.
that dynamic.
Yeah.
Also, in this game, he's much more, I suppose, clean cut, smooth shaven. Like, in the games, he's like a large, ruffled, shaggy kind of drunkard Spaniard.
Oh,
yeah, he's like a street fighter, right?
Yeah, and this is like
not to be confused with the games.
Kind of a pretty boy look.
I was thinking of Street Fighter the movie.
Yeah, well,
obviously
the franchise Street Fighter. But he's
the
franchise
guy that fights
Street
Fighter the movies. Isn't there more than one? Street Fighter? Is there only one Street Fighter movie?
I think there are like 3.
Then that's a franchise.
Yeah.
There you
go.
But
I mean, like, overall, like, games and movies.
Oh, you know what? I just saw a shot in which I could see the separation from the mustache and goatee just slightly. So, you know what? Trivia? I apologize.
Maybe it's like Henry Cavill's edited.
Oh, yeah, it was CG'd. yeah, it was CG'd.
CG'd out the part that separates.
Now, what I really liked about this feature-length film version of Tekken was the fights, obviously.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the things that is acclaimed about it.
Shot well. They were the right length. Like, you know, when you have characters like these two fighting at the moment, yeah, they're fan favorites, but they're not really mattering to the story. So you don't need a 5-minute long sequence of them fighting. It only needs to be like a minute or two, just to kind of give you an idea of, okay, this is what the Tekken fight is all about.
It's a 90-minute film. It's not an anime with many episodes.
But I was surprised that Eddie Gordo got taken out this early on, because he was one of the ones I was familiar with.
Yeah,
from
he
the
debuted
games.
in Tekken 3.
He's also very cheap in the games. Without a 12-year-old controlling him, he's a bit, doesn't have the same oomph.
Yeah. If you think of Tekken as a game where you button mash, he's one that has. Correct me if I'm wrong, but his combos are very intricate. So if you do button mash, it's very unpredictable.
Tekken's kind of an interesting game in that it's very deep at the pro level, but the reason a lot of people can play it casually is because everything's fluid. Like if you play Street Fighter and you just press a bunch of random buttons, you kind of like awkward jabs, that one, very stiff.
Yeah, Street Fighter, if I'm not mistaken, you need to do specific inputs for a lot of the moves, whereas Tekken is very fluid.
It's very fluid. You can press a button.
There are
a bunch of buttons.
There are still moves that require specific inputs, but you can kind of improvise.
And Eddie is probably at the height of that with all his. It's very simple for anyone, even a child, to make him dance and spin around. So fan favorite for that reason. Although he's taking a beating here,
and
he's getting the shit kicked out of him. He looks like, just to interrupt for a brief second. Yeah. Did you think that? I know he's supposed to be Jamaican, right? Is that
yes?
And since Jamaica and Australia Brazilian, Brazil and Australia, when it comes to sports, have the same colours, which is green and gold. Yeah. And when he was here, I was like, oh, great, Australia, right? And then I was like, oh, wait, no, he's Brazilian, I guess, or Jamaican, I actually thought. So there you go.
If you didn't know in advance, you could think he was like an Aboriginal.
Yeah, sure, he was an Aussie Roo, yeah.
And I know that in the games, Christy and Eddie have the same capoeira master, and they basically have the same movesets. So that was a big change in this film to make her
do all
different.
The characters in the games have the tattoos that these characters have?
I did read that a lot of the costuming, at least, was very faithful to the game.
Except for Raven, of course. I mean, we're going to have to strike that one from the record, Bartek, because that's one of the point of contention.
Raven wears sunglasses in this, right? That's one thing.
Oh, yes, but did he wear a jaunty silver white outfit? No, thank you.
I believe it was Jin or someone else that had a devil tattoo without having the devil aspect in this movie.
I think it was Jin, yeah.
Oh, really? On his arm?
I think so, yeah.
I wasn't too sure if it was a devil or just...
Maybe in Tekken 3 they'll come out.
Well, it's not so much that it's a devil, but it's a tattoo that signifies he has that devil gene.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. I want that jacket of Iron Fist staff that the guy was wearing there. Look, don't you want that? It's not even called Tekken. I get that it's the Iron Fist event, but they're Tekken security.
I do like the behind the scenes you get here in the games. You never see any of these average people that make it all work.
Yeah, exactly. That's neat. Like that guy that was wearing a microphone just then. And he was tapping tapping an iPad. I want to know what he's about.
You never fully appreciate all the people it takes to make this all go together, all work smoothly.
It all comes across like just the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu is the one that runs it all. Like Heihachi just stands over with his arms crossed watching.
Everything's just perfectly set naturally.
He does the catering in the back and everything.
I like the idea that in this, Heihachi's just like, okay, so I've got to do the tax return for like going through like all the business stuff, and then like someone like Jin comes in, like, Heihachi, I'm ready to fight, and he's like, hold on, I've got to carry the two for a second, so he's just like doing business.
Another interesting thing this movie does that you don't really think about in the games is it has the same location, but then it's got like holograms and props. And
it's like a stage where things alter around to make new scenarios.
It doesn't have the stage that has Snoop Dogg in the background.
Unfortunately, no, and there's no excuse for that because Tekken 6 was before this.
Well, so... Snoop Dogg must have been, I guess, too busy when they were filming this, prepping for when they were going to send him a Spyro drone.
I guess instead.
Wait, sorry, was that stage? Was that Tekken 6 or Tag Tournament 2?
That was Tekken 6, I believe.
What is with Snoop Dogg in video games? Can someone explain this? I didn't realize.
I guess.
Wasn't there that?
Didn't know that you like. No one would think, oh, gangster rapper Snoop Dogg is such a huge Spyro fan.
Wasn't there that minor controversy where he was like streaming a game on Twitch and it was, like someone else was playing it for him and he was just like standing there stoned?
Well, good for him. Yeah. Good for him. So I guess one of the things that's I imagine is an obvious reference, but obviously we will make confirmation, is the girl in this, whose name I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Like
the main love interest?
Yeah.
Christy.
Are her pants like that in the game? Where they like low cut at the back so you can see her ass?
I don't believe so, but...
Oh my god, really? I thought that was like for a direct reference to the game.
It's been a very long time, but I would imagine it would be like skin-tight long pants?
Yeah, I mean, the Tekken games have a bunch of costumes for everyone, but her main one is similar to this, but more colourful instead of just white.
Yeah, in this, it's because she's pure.
Actually...
Innocence, white, perhaps. Purity and innocence.
I guess she does sort of flirt more in the games than here.
Oh, she's pretty flirty in this, man. She's showing her buttocks in every scene she's in.
Only to Jin though.
Yeah.
I mean, technically to everyone she's around.
Very monogamous.
So you're telling me that in the games she doesn't have the pants that go down at her so you can see the tops of her butt cheeks. Well, I'm shocked. I thought that was purely a reference to the game so that people would be like, oh, see
one of the things about the games that it took me a very long time to realize is that when you're on the character selection screen, you know,
where you select them and they're kind of bobbing up and down.
Yeah, but specifically when you highlight the character and you press a button to select them, common sense says like, oh, just press like the X button or whatever the confirm button typically is. But in the Tekken series, you can press any button, and that is what picks what costume they'll wear. So it took me a long time to connect, like, I'm pressing X to select this character. Why do I have these alternative non-default costumes?
Finally entered the 21st century in Tekken 7, where you press square and then it shows all the costumes and you select directly.
Oh, that's such a good thing to finally include.
Well, I personally would have preferred it if they didn't do that, so that way they kept continuity up with the games. Yeah. Because that's... So what point did the games become 3D? Or are they still 2D?
They were always 3D. That was the big selling point of the franchise.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
at what point did they become more 3D? Like, when did it become more high res? Like, when you can
probably
tell
on the
from
PS2 then.
Okay,
it's like Tag Tournament 2 and
Tekken 4.
No,
that's not necessarily. Like, when you play Crash Bandicoot on PS1 and you go to PS2 and there's barely any difference until you get to something like Twin Sanity.
Like one thing
when does it become like it looks like a good-looking game?
Well, Tekken 5, like, I always remember it as looking better than it does because I remember the ending movies and CGs obviously look better in-game. And I go back and look at the game and compare it to Tekken 6 or Tekken 7.
Tekken 4 is when they started being less polygony and started having voice acting, so maybe there. But Tag Tournament 2 didn't have the voice acting, but it was kind of getting
It's a pretty linear path.
Tag Tournament 1, sorry.
Tekken 7 is like 60 gigabytes or something. Like, it's a very big graphics-focused game.
Yeah.
So they do prioritize that. They're always trying to be at the cutting edge, which means the older games don't look great, but it is what it is.
It's a bummer. Now, I have a weird history with Tekken as well. With watching this, it really reminded me of a TV show that I really like called Double the Fist.
Oh, you showed me
the Australian TV show, in which the host of that show is called Steve Fox, spelled with 2 X's.
Yep.
And his brother is Rod Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And that show is like Australian comedy show in which it's like all these fictitious characters are doing like these death-defying stunts, and the reward is the full fist, and it's like an iron fist logo that comes up, so it's kind of like,
I'm pretty sure
and I never put those together before.
I think
really.
when you showed me that, I was like, oh, there's an iron fist and a character called Steve Fox.
And there's like characters in it competing for the thing. So it's like the first episode is like sports, it's like abseiling. It's the weakest thing known to man. It takes all the excitement out of jumping off a cliff. So here's a cliff, guys, that's like this tall and this wide.
This is the episode you showed me. Yeah.
And you guys have to jump off this cliff with no safety equipment and survive. Go. And like they have a full day or two to figure it out. And like one of them figures it out by wrapping themselves up in 500 meters worth of bubble wrap. And then just jump. Another one tries to make a suit that glides across, but he needs updraft, so he gets a grenade and throws a grenade over to explode so he could ride the updraft. But he just jumps on the grenade like an idiot. And the other one thinks he could jump from the cliffside to the water because it's a seaside cliff, and so he needs the momentum. So he has a car strapped with a chain to a rock that will drive, and he's on the front of the car, and like the sudden braking will make him fly, but instead it just makes him like jolt like a meter forward and just flop down and he explodes. And it's shit like that. And so when I was watching this, I'm like, double the fist. I see you are Tekken fans.
So here we have confirmation of Jin's DNA.
We also have confirmation that the actor has an outie belly button, Jin. He had an outie.
That's why I was first suspicious. Is like that looks like mine.
Yeah, I have an outie. I've never met anyone in real life with an outie belly button.
I've met one or two, but I don't remember who they were.
So I really enjoy this club enthusiast Jin, because in the games he's closer to like. Remember that Simpsons scene where Smithers enters a strip club? He's got the girls like, dancing on. It's like, In this, he's got, two girlfriends.
He's rather asexual, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got
doesn't
like.
Really care.
So you tell me that shot there where they showed her buttocks, no relation to the game. Wow.
I believe that was a Hollywood choice.
Well, there's the character Anna Williams, who appears in this film, but I don't think ever fights.
No,
she has a winning pose where she like smacks her ass to like taunt the.
Well, I assume that this thing was a part of the games because, let's be honest,
it's a very specific
Japan are perverts.
Yes.
And I thought, since I was very
you can see Heihachi in a Speedo in Tekken 5.
Since this is a very pervy movie in parts, in a specifically Japanese way, like in the villain's bedroom, he had like one of those typical posters of a girl in a bikini that you would see in like a Metal Gear Solid game for no apparent reason.
I suppose
if you look hard
the stuff
enough.
in this movie is very like standard Western version, like.
But what I just pointed out is clearly very Japanese. Like in the villain's bedroom, he has like a poster of one of those Japanese girls in a tight bikini going the face that you see in like a Metal Gear Solid game when you find it, or like I thought this pants thing. Oh, that's very Japanese. I was like, okay, that must be in the games. So that's why I'm a bit surprised. I'm like, I guess the West were perverts on their own terms in this one.
Also, they've made again Jin just.
Well,
very interested in the affair sex. Compared to the games.
Well, his mum died, so he's a bit horny, Like, as we all know, when our mothers get exploded with rocket launchers from Heihachi, we all want a bone. I mean, it's primal nature, man.
Yeah, one of the characters that debuted in Tekken 3 is a Chinese schoolgirl, and she's always been the one that's like had the hots for Jin. So the fact that she's not in this film where Jin's interested in women, it's probably a bit ironic.
Unfortunate for her. In the games, and sometimes in this is like, my family, the Devil Gene, the Mishimas, my mother.
And then the Chinese schoolgirl just pops up like, hey, Jin.
No, my family.
It reminds me of Scott Pilgrim then, like how in Scott Pilgrim there's Knives Chow.
Said Chinese schoolgirl is the friend/owner of the panda, who unfortunately isn't in this movie either.
Well, maybe they'll be for the third movie.
Yeah. Well, the Blood Vengeance...
Tekken Endgame, where it's like, finally the panda snaps.
The 2011 one, which is 3D animated, she's one of the main characters.
So whenever Bartek and I are trying to indulge in some Tekken bowling, as we do, his console always suggests we instead watch the Tekken Blood Vengeance movie.
Yes. If you put in a PS3, it will by default try to start Blood Vengeance.
Because this came in something called Tekken Hybrid, which was the movie.
Of course.
Tekken Tag 1. in the demo of Tekken Tag 2. Very nice mix of things to do.
Now, would you say that this is the best fight sequence put to film ever? The
one
strobe
in the
light
dark.
fight?
It reminded me a lot
It
of
was-
when we did a play back at uni called Noir. There was a scene where I had to beat someone up in an interrogation with strobe lights.
And you loved it. You loved it.
People liked it, but it had to make us give a warning to people, like warning for epileptics. There's
Oh,
a
yeah, if you're
strobe scene for some
epileptic
reason.
and you're watching this scene, soz,
Whoops.
you're dead.
Well, you said sos, so it's fine.
Well, they're dead, so it doesn't matter.
At least Christy just smashing the door up and made them run away. so
Well,
it's
she
nearly
grabbed a
over.
weight first. She didn't want to just do her fist, or else she would have a bloody knuckle, and that
Oh,
wouldn't be
we've-
good for fighting.
We've talked a fair bit about the lorb, and Stephen sort of referenced it, but I guess we haven't really talked about like the.
You mean
starting-
you mean Bartlett?
Bartlett.
Bartlett?
Yeah.
Well, it's Bartlett with a PH. It's not pronounced Bartlett.
Bartlett.
It's Bartlett.
Or you just put the PH at the end randomly.
Yeah, Bartlett.
Bartlett for
I prefer Bartlett
Bartlett. Yes,
because it's the buff is the.
it's like
PH.
someone vomiting, but like a little version.
It's a PH.
Yes. The start of the series that started everything was the fact that as a child, Heihachi threw his son Kazuya off a cliff because was like a manliness thing, and Kazuya's whole motivation at the first game was to get revenge for that.
Oh, is that why you got the scar? Okay.
Maybe.
Well, maybe.
It's
think-
just a little cheek scar.
I think we talked about this before we started recording, but there is merit to throwing your children off a volcano because look what happens when you don't. Look what Kazuya is.
Yeah, man.
Heihachi's a very honourable man.
Trump,
you know,
you're saying
he's
that
got his-
you're saying that Donald Trump's father should have thrown him to a volcano.
I mean, he could have
Is that
at
what
least
you're saying?
gone to
well,
the
that means
effort,
that Donald
could have-
Trump has the devil gene, Ryan.
Well, he definitely has the devil gene. Are you kidding me?
Well,
Of
in
course
the
he has
games,
the devil
in the
gene.
games, Devil Kazuya and Devil Jin are separate characters in the selection screen.
What is the devil gene? Is it just so that you
Gives
kick more ass?
you a devil form.
It gives you some horns, some nice
So
wings.
does that mean
some extra tats.
in the universe of Tekken the devil exists?
I don't know about hell and demons and devils themselves, but the Mishima family bloodline has a devil gene that gives them this
And
demonic form.
I'm not sure how canon it is, but I mean, we're watching this movie, so who cares?
Yeah.
Jin's mother in this, I believe she can transform into an angel in Tekken Tag 1. So you just got angel, devil.
I remember because when we play the bowling game, an alternate form of Devil Jin was just called Angel, and it was like a woman or something.
So in the games, is Tekken or are there the other corporations like that are listed here? Like I just saw
I
behind
like the
them.
sponsors and
Valencorp.
stuff.
Yeah, there was Rusk
Yeah.
Corp for Russia, I guess.
I think that's for the movie because in the games, like Sergey, he's not just like sponsored by some company. He's just who he is, like Russian.
They
military man.
obviously have their own stories and like places they work or whatever. But it's really more so the thing because it's not a dystopian universe. It's the King of Iron Fist tournament, and anyone who wants to enter it can just enter it.
Is
They
it
don't have
set
to...
in the modern day?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I think technically it's like a future, but it looks modern day aside from any liberties.
Right. Fair enough. I was waiting for you to be like, actually, it's set in 15th century Japan, and it's really
I mean-
odd that they've put it here with like American Gladiators type television.
It is possible that the game does have sponsors because this movie shows a lot of things in the background that you don't necessarily appreciate in the games. Like it's got the Tekken Iron Fist staff
Yeah.
just toiling away, making
Yeah.
everything run smoothly. So it is possible.
I want one of those
sponsors in the-
jackets
in the background.
Man.
It's
Iron
it's a
Fist
great
staff.
because you'll either get people like finding it funny, or you'll get people that like know the reference. So it's like double-edged sword, but like victory.
Oh, you know what they say.
Yeah.
Truth.
Very
double-edged
sassy
sword.
Christy in this.
Oh, she's sassed 100%. Money. They've got money in this universe, but they got two sorts of money. They got
Global
Yeah.
dollars and
and the corporate dollars.
It's like euros and pounds or something.
Yeah, that's it. Do you think what really, in universe of what we're in, do you think the triggering event was Brexit, and that's why we
So they
live
have
in Tekken future?
Texit.
Yeah.
Because they have,
Tekken City exit.
yeah, because they have like Tekken dollars, which are worth less than global dollars.
I saw a post that someone made. They took a picture of like an exit sign at McDonald's, and it had like the golden arches M before it, so it was Mexit. It's like, oh no, Mexico's leaving the euro. Like,
Or McDonald's is leaving the world.
yeah,
Oh
exactly.
no.
Oh man, could you imagine? They just go to space and they sell
Space Maccas.
space Maccas. That would be
Smackers.
You took it right from my mouth.
Oh, wow.
That's it. That one sounds like I'm not sure if you've seen South Park, the Cartman Land approach, where you just don't let anyone in. You create demand for your product by not letting them in.
Yeah,
you're in space.
It's like that episode of The Simpsons where it's just like, we allow no homers. But you got Homer such and such in there. Yeah, we said homers. We're allowed one.
We haven't mentioned the jacks in this film, the jackhammers.
Oh, yes. I like the jackhammers. They're a fun design. I like that they have a green laser for their scope.
And
they're fun.
Yeah. I guess there's sort of a reference to the Jack characters in the games, which are the robot, basically Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator's characters. But in this film, they just made them like black-clad, security.
I guess
samurai.
It'd be hard to pick a design anyway, because in the games there's Jack 1, Jack 2, Jack 3, one per game.
I don't know if this film, could afford Arnold Schwarzenegger to just be all the Jacks.
Well, he was governor at the time, so probably not.
Busy man.
Or was he just finished governor? Maybe he was just finishing being governor.
Whatever 2009, 2010 was.
Well, so maybe we don't even know what year.
We're not American.
It was filmed
Here we have Goss Fox giving Jin his own power gauntlets, power gloves.
His iconic gauntlets, gloves, yeah.
Which are very good because they're a bit scuffed, but, you'll be fine with them.
They look pretty good.
And he is fine with them. He punches people in the face with them real good. It's weird because in this scene, he doesn't have an outie belly button.
Yeah,
but in the other scene, he did have an outie belly button. I'm just saying, did the actor die and they replaced him with a clone actor who had an itty?
Listen, I'm not going to say yes or no, but I will point out that on Wikipedia, they point out 3 actors for Jin because of his various ages. There's normal Jin, young Jin, and Jin age 6.
Well, which one was young Jin?
I guess the one that wasn't 6 and the one that wasn't this one.
But in the flashbacks, he's 6.
Maybe there was a flashback where he was a teen.
Maybe you're right.
There definitely was a transition stage. Maybe it doesn't happen yet, but it shows him getting stronger, just chopping the bricks, wood.
So, in any of the video games, does Heihachi get defeated by his son saying, "I'm in charge now, get out, old man"?
Actually, yes.
Oh, really? Oh, good. I was just going to say, if this isn't video game accurate, then I don't want it.
It's like the canon endings for all of them. A Mishima wins the tournament, I think, and they always become the head of the company. So I guess there is like a king out thing. And I remember the Tekken 1 ending for Kazuya is throwing his father off the same cliff.
Yes, although
he survives and comes
the
back
best
in Tekken 2.
Tekken ending of all time is where the bear wins, and then he throws Heihachi down one of those, like Mr. Burns shoots.
Yeah.
The
like
trapdoor things.
Like the Dr. Evil type shoot. Yeah.
Throws Heihachi down a trapdoor, and then just got his business bear.
Of course. Yeah. That's great.
And the thing with the panda is that it's just one of the alternate skins of the bear, but the panda does have its own ending.
So, is this character that he's about to fight in the games too?
Who, Yoshimitsu?
Yeah, is that the samurai?
Yeah.
Yes. Yoshimitsu is also, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, he's in a game called Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Soul Calibur has, space pirates.
Of course.
Fighting gun robots. So we're really not that far away from having gun robots in this movie.
What I was going to say was, when you fight him in the games, is it like how you're fighting him in this, where you both have to have a weapon? Or
no, everyone just uses their own style. This movie kind of balancing it out
I
a
was
bit.
surprised they put Yoshimitsu in the movie, because they have this rule set going on: no robots, no this, no that.
Well, we don't know.
No cybernetics, but they didn't say no armor. Also, Ryan, remember when I said there were 4 characters that have been in every game?
He's one.
Yoshimitsu's one of them.
Oh, cool. Do we get to see what his face is?
No, but I think his design changes in every single
time.
entry.
In Tekken 7, he's got tentacles coming out of his head.
So which is the best design in your opinion?
I don't know all of them. I only really remember the Tekken 1,
Bartlett?
3, and 5
You have to tell me
ones.
which one's got the best design for him.
They're all very crazy. It's hard to remember them all, but I just maybe recency bias, but I like his Tekken 7 tentacle face.
Well, I'll defend his Tekken 3 face then. I don't remember what it looks like, but I'll defend it.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
He's fun.
So you're telling me in the Tekken games, they don't just, when you're midway fighting, cut to a bar full of people watching and you have to press the X button to make them cheer?
Maybe Tekken 8.
Maybe Tekken 8. Maybe they need to do it like Fast and Furious, where they put the numbers within the title to make clever puns or whatever. Like
Tech 8.
Yeah, Tech 8. Or Aiton.
Taten.
T8.
Taten. Yeah. And Tekken 10 will
Tekken
be
9.
Tenken.
Yeah, that one works.
That one is...
Tech 11.
yeah.
12ken.
Yeah.
Tech 13.
That's great. I love that.
We skipped Tekken 9, but Tekken 9.
I mean, we skipped Windows 9 too, so...
Yeah, that's fine.
yes.
That's fine. Ninekin then. Like, it's all just... I thought this was probably one of my favorite fights. I felt like they had a good mix of cutting to audiences, but also showing that there is an opponent that can kick some serious ass, and they're faceless opponent as well, like they're behind a mask.
And faceless like in the games as well.
And, you know, you're showing everyone involved, and you're showing the behind-the-scenes drama of the Tekken company not stopping the fight and all the drama. And I feel like this is probably my favorite fight in the movie, because it's just combining so many other elements as well as the fight itself that it makes it dramatically interesting. That and the strobe light fight, obviously, because that one had 2 girls fighting. One boy.
Well, that one was
Well, there was that
Christy
Christy versus Nina fight, which had 2 girls, no guy.
Yeah, but 2 girls, one guy. No, 2 girls versing each other. It was fun, but I would have preferred. I thought since they were twins, I thought their gimmick was that it was 2 of them fight at the same time. I thought that was their gimmick. But then you never see the other one fight again.
Considering that they got rid of their dynamic in the games, in which they hate each other and they're never on the same side, you'd think that if you're going to put them together in this film, you may as well make them like a tag duo or something.
And
like
then
that.
maybe you could have it that Jin and what was the lead girl again in this? Christy fight together to fight them.
Yeah.
And it could be like a little dramatic throwback to how they just fought Jin earlier, and like you could have a nice little tie-in. Also, I'm a bit bummed that the movie was too pussy to have a guy fight a girl properly in the Tekken competition.
Yeah, because in the games that's not an issue.
I wanted to see Jin kick the shit out of those twins properly on the mat.
I mean, you can also go more extreme, because the games you can have giant robots like Brian Fury fight small Japanese schoolgirls or Chinese schoolgirls.
And he gets his ass kicked, of course.
Yes.
Or baby kangaroo riding in its mum's pouch.
Yep.
Fighting Big Terminator.
But does the mum get the fight, or is it just the baby?
I think the mum gets to do a few things, but the baby's the one that's wearing the gloves and doing a lot of things.
Does it have strictly low attacks because it's lower to the ground, or...?
Maybe the mum does do high attacks. I can't remember.
I think if you're talking about Roger Jr. with the baby in the pouch, I think the mother does do the bulk of the actual punching, because the baby can't reach.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, so I got it backwards.
But then before that, there was also...
But the character's referring to the Joey.
Yeah.
Roger Jr.
Well, he's the brains.
I guess.
He's the brawn.
There's also an amusing ending scene where Roger Jr. and his mother are trying to save Roger Jr.'s father.
Oh, good.
But then it turns out Roger Jr. is just like hanging out with like
Roger Sr.
Yeah, Roger Sr. is hanging out with other like female kangaroos, just getting smashed, just partying.
The one in Tekken 5 he's just a couch potato.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was gonna be like
pretty much.
And I thought it was gonna be like, and hey Hachi's the dad.
Actually, there's a kind of subplot.
I threw your mom off a cliff.
There's a kind of subplot going on with them too throughout the games, isn't there? Where like the dad is like deadbeat and they're like divorced, and he like really wants to get back with her or something.
And yet this wasn't in the feature film. Is that why it's unappreciated, Bartek?
Well, definitely when I was looking at the YouTube comments and the IMDb reviews, there was a lot of people saying, like, it's good that they had a lot of characters, but they didn't have, like, a lot of them. And that's kind of one of the consequences of, the franchise having so many characters that don't interact. Like, if you're going to do a film about, like, the main plot, can you fit in the goofier characters?
Like deadbeat dad kangaroo.
Yeah, exactly.
And they couldn't even do King, who would at least be a good, opponent. His style is different. He's pro wrestling, I believe.
And give him, in this one, a tiger head. Like, not
Make him a legit tiger.
Make him a legit
CG
tiger head. And don't explain it ever.
Well,
I think I know what you're going to say, Stephen, about Tekken 7.
Yeah, Heihachi's wife, who is not in this, she fights with a literal tiger.
Great.
She tames a tiger, and it comes out during her combos and sort of goes back into her dress when she's not using it.
I just quickly looked up our lead actor. And
Jon
Foo. I'd love to show you what a picture of him of recent times looks like.
Holy crap, that does not look like him at all.
He looks, the best way to describe him...
Like a musician.
He looks like a musician with long, scraggly hair and a mustache.
He looks like he should be in Reese's band.
He looks like a hipster stoner. He looks like Post Malone, but without the tattoos. It's very odd. I just wanted to see quickly if we've seen him in any other major things. It was just his big work.
I think he's one of those action stunty kind of.
He's been in
people.
17 things, Bartek, and he's been in the acclaimed movie Tekken.
Yep.
I've seen him in Tekken.
Vikingdom.
That's a good mix.
It's like one of those Tekken puns we're using.
He was in the Left 4 Dead movie as Street Fighter 3.
There was a Left 4 Dead film?
I imagine so.
I have not heard of this. This is my Tekken.
It's a 2005 film.
That's before the game, isn't it?
Well, maybe the game is inspired.
Wow.
Left 4 Dead is a revenge thriller set in a city called Hope, where a crime lord...
So it's not a zombie film.
Wait a moment. Is attacked and left for the dead, but the dead don't know. It's not a zombie film, I don't
Ryan,
think.
what was that film that you showed me a trailer for? It was like Sitting Ducks, but it's also got the same name as like a kids show.
Yeah, it's something very.
I think it was Sitting
very
Ducks,
odd.
and it was like two old guys doing a heist or something and bathing together.
Yeah, and then the trailer is like a kids show, or the other way around. It
was like
so
the kids show on IMDb had that trailer for this like adult film.
So I can appreciate this high octane gun action in
I
this
love
fighting
guns.
game movie.
Hey, guns are fun.
Are there any characters that have guns in their combos?
I'm trying to think because you can customize a gun onto your character and you can use it.
Oh, you can use the customizations?
Yeah, in Tekken
okay.
7 at least, but it's not like game breaker or anything. Like if you were at a pro level, it wouldn't matter. But I guess here these fighters aren't as resistant to guns as they would like.
I remember because as a kid, I wasn't very good at comboing, so I just liked certain moves. Like Yoshimitsu's got like this round kick. Yeah. So when I grew up and I was experimenting a bit more, it blew my mind that he had an attack where he could use his sword. It was like, holy shit.
I'm not a fighting game person much either, and when I do them, I just mash those buttons. Mash them. Yeah. Bartek saw me playing those Arkham games, and you were complaining about like, hey...
oh, you should try comboing, like timing or something.
No! And you're like, yeah, but you should, and by the time you said that I should, I killed everyone with my fists. So it was all good.
It was high combo.
No.
At least you learned how to grapple.
Now, can we all mourn the fact that Goss Fox is about to leave the movie and no one mourns him once he does?
Yeah.
Which is very upsetting because he was like his father figure in this movie.
He could have been his father.
Well, maybe we should leave that for father figures too. Jin's origins proper, where it's like it's actually Goss Fox.
Will Owen Wilson return?
Of course.
Yes. Who is the other lead actor?
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms, yes.
I thought you were going to say Ed Cat Williams will be the universe again.
So is this the movie that had Goss Fox in it?
No, unfortunately, but
We've only seen him in The Man.
sequel will have Goss Fox.
The Man had Eugene Levy and Samuel L. Jackson. They should be in this film
And he was the villain in it, Goss Fox.
He was, yes. And there was a line where he basically admitted that he has a very giant penis.
Yeah, and everyone loves the fact that he has a giant dick, and we all appreciate that too. I'm very upset that the movie didn't really spend a little bit of time grieving the loss of Goss Fox, because he was kind of the most, not to discredit the film, but he was the most human character in the movie. Like, the rest of them are very much your typical kind of Asian protagonist enemy heroes where it's all honor and revenge and everything's like that heightened, dramatic, stiff type of performance that works like that. And Steve Fox in this is more kind of your jovial and kind of more kind of your Western type of character.
And you could go as far as to say that the events of the movie don't happen without him.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely not. He's like the Obi-Wan.
And
we need that bridge between Anvil, where Jin is, and the big Iron Fist tournament.
And I kind of, was like, oh, come on, let's just languish a little bit on the sadness of his passing.
It was very weird. There was actually a point where the film ended. I'm like, he did die, right? Because no one mourned him.
Oh, because he got shot 1,000,000 times.
Yeah. It's just there wasn't much emphasis on what that means.
Were we disappointed that we didn't get to see him fight?
Heihachi?
No, we do see Heihachi fight a bit. He took down 2 guards already at this point.
Sorry, you're talking about Steve Fox.
Goss Fox. We didn't see him physically fight, really, in the movie that much.
Yeah, I guess not. Was it established that he's a boxer?
Yeah, he gave him his power gauntlets, and he used to be in the Iron Fist, and then he got kicked out, and he got kicked to the anvil.
Well, I know that he fought, but was it confirmed that his style was boxing?
Well, that's why he gave him the power gauntlets.
Yeah.
But we know from the games, at least, that that's what he was. but
Yeah,
we
well,
never
he
get
wears
to
boxing
see
gloves
we
in the
never
games,
get to
but
see
yeah.
him fight.
Yeah,
in this,
it's
which is a
definitely-
bummer because
definitely a
Luke
shame.
Goss looks like he could kick my ass.
And I know our friend Chris Mardirian, he has said to me that when he plays Tekken, he does main Steve Fox. So
there you go.
and I remember when I played that PSP game, every time I had to fight against Steve Fox, I had to be on my A game because he's a tough one.
Steve Fox
The
is
AI.
fun to play as because when you press the kick buttons instead of kicking, he just ducks and weaves.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that Tekken is known for, because Street Fighter is just
He's
that...
fighting a bit here, but he's fighting with a metal bar.
Also, Luke Goss uses his knees. That's
Yeah, well, he's retired.
Yeah.
So he's allowed to use his knees. But here he goes, he gets killed in a crucifix pose.
Yeah. So I was saying...
Because he's Jesus.
Yeah.
a lot of fighting games, and Street Fighter are probably on top of that list. They're just like the 2D ones where it's, left and right and up and down is, just jump and duck.
Jump and duck.
And Tekken stands out from that again, with the fluidity, but also the 3D environment. You can kind of go in and out and, like, dodge in that way.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of the things it has going for it. And a character like Steve Fox, is kind of made for that system as opposed to, like, a 2D one.
But do you think the Tekken games could benefit from shoving playable characters that exist in pop culture like Pikachu?
Well, Ryan, have you heard of some of the characters in Tekken 7 that are guests from other franchises? Because they've mixed with Final Fantasy and a little series called The Walking Dead. and a Street Fighter character.
Let's just
wait, is it the Walking Dead character? The other one you can play as is Glenn because he's Asian.
The character's name is Negan. Does that ring a
the
bell?
one with the baseball bat that's wrapped in barbed wire. And the comic. Here's the one thing I know about Negan. The comic book version of him was inspired visually and character-wise from the punk rocker Henry Rollins, who we've had on the show in Johnny Mnemonic. Mm-hmm. He was Spider.
Well,
then he was actually...
Johnny Mnemonic is one of the films that this reminds me of, this one.
Oh, yes, very much. And Henry Rollins auditioned for it for the show, but they said no, he was too short.
Yes.
They were like, too short.
Anyway.
So we'll get Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I guess he's the video game version?
Negan wasn't the most popular choice, but I feel like if this movie had come out many years later, after Tekken 7, since there's a lot of media cooperation between Tekken and The Walking Dead, and like promotion, that Negan would have been in a Tekken movie.
Yeah.
If this movie took place then.
And he'd just kill people with his baseball bat covered in wire.
Same actor.
In whatever is the canon story of Tekken 7, does Negan make an appearance? Oh no, he's DLC, so they wouldn't be in the main story.
Yeah, unfortunately, but he does ask everyone if they're pissing their pants yet when he walks out.
Does he have a tiger too? Because in the show he has a tiger.
They couldn't fit him in. He just has his bat, Lucille, or whatever it's called.
Yep.
Blue Steel.
Lucille.
Oh, yeah. Lucille.
What did you say?
Blue Steel.
Blue Steel.
Man, if it was a steel bat and
next
it was
DLC character,
blue,
Derek Zoolander.
Man,
Please.
next DLC character for Tekken should be Frankie Muniz as himself. And he should be like, hey guys, it's me, Frankie, and I'm here.
I don't remember Malcolm in the Middle.
I don't remember much, but I'm here to fight.
Doesn't he have like some memory problems? These
Yeah,
days?
he's had a lot of
Bryan
mini
Cranston
strokes.
has to remind him about Malcolm in the Middle existing.
Bryan Cranston is a DLC character, the actor.
No, he's
just like, take this, and he throws an Emmy at them. He just keeps throwing Emmys at them. He's like, take this, motherfucker.
Well,
he's part of the moveset of Frankie Muniz, much like the tiger with the mum.
The Emmy trophy is not too dissimilar from the Heihachi bowling pins. Because the Heihachi bowling pins are golden with Heihachi's face.
Yeah.
I really like the actor of Russian Boy here. He really had a lot of fun. He really kind of embodied what it looked like the video game character might be. You know, like he felt like he was really having a fun romp with this.
I think
so.
Go ahead.
Neither of these guys use weapons in the game, but here we have a fight to the death due to Mr. Not Throwing Off a Volcano, Kazuya, demanding that everyone fight for the ratings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that there was a trivia point, because in Tekken 5 and beyond, I think Tekken 4 they were still all just speaking English. They had a lot of characters of different ethnicities speak the language of their country, and still had the thing where they understand each other. I think the trivia point said that in this film, the only character who doesn't speak English in the games is the Russian guy here, Sergei Dragunov.
Yeah,
I think everyone else speaks English by default.
I remember one scene in Tekken 7 specifically where there was a Japanese man, Heihachi, an American woman, Nina.
And they're all
she's Irish, isn't she?
Well, she speaks English. That's just
Irish-American?
Yeah,
maybe?
then there was an Italian man, and all three of them were in a circle, speaking their own language and understanding each other naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you do.
It's like...
And there are also characters who don't speak any language, like Mokujin, the wood guy, who just speaks like wood smacking
It's kind
each
of like
other.
a thing where, like, shows in space where they just all speak English or they all speak Japanese. And
Well, sometimes they try and explain it with, like,
Yeah.
oh, we got a universal translating system.
it's
Like,
alien
like
mind
Babblefish.
powers.
But no, this is just Tekken.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that he pulled the thing, and I thought he decapitated him, but then they dragged the body of the guy's head still on, and I was like, oh, he didn't decapitate him. Okay.
It just looked like the chains had some spikes and kind of just...
Well, if that was around your neck, it would hurt.
Yeah, just walk it off.
Ah, walk it off. Yeah, you're right. You got me there. I'm done. I don't remember which fight it was, but apparently in trivia, it's like one of the fight sequences, one of the actors got genuinely like hit and was bleeding from their face, but they
Yeah,
didn't
there
have
was
enough
something
time
like
because
that.
they were like, I have to go to an MMA fight, so hurry this up. We'll just use my
Yeah.
real blood on my face.
Which one was it?
I think it might be the one who played martial law, maybe.
It was either Martial Law, the Miguel guy, or... It wouldn't have been Brian Fury, would it? No, he's too much in the film. Yeah, one of them
But
was...
he only has one fight sequence with the main character.
Although
the barbell.
Brian Fury's face, like even at the start, like preview thing, did have like blood on it.
Oh, he's bleeding all the time.
I think he was bleeding from the lip in the trivia.
Well,
so whoever
who
bleeds from the
knows?
lip and fights John
It's
Woo,
her. She's an MMA fighter. And she was like, I'm too busy with my buttocks hanging out. What a weird choice.
I mean, I have to look back at the games because there might be at least one game where she's like that. But
Yeah, Tekken 3,
the main
maybe.
thing I remember about Christy from the games is just like starts a fight. She's like, "Go easy on me."
Or like taunting them.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I remember from Tekken
No,
5...
you said it in a way where it made it sound like she genuinely was like, go easy on me, guys. Like, I'm a girl.
Yeah, my seductive woman voice isn't up to scratch, but I guess we can.
So she says, go easy on me, and Negan asks if she's pissed her pants yet.
Yeah,
Go easy on me. Have you pissed your pants yet?
that's the kind of
Wait,
quality content.
Do we
quality
know if in the
conversations.
DLC version where Negan appears, if it's the voice is done by
It's-
Anthony
yeah.
Dean Morgan?
Yeah, both
Oh.
the voice and the face.
Oh, cool.
The face didn't come out great, but you know.
Well,
work
it's
with
a
what you
video
got.
game. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you gonna get? Like,
They
it's not gonna
also-
actually. It's not gonna be as creepy as what's that new game where the other guy from The Walking Dead is in it, and that's like from Metal Gear guy.
Oh, Death Stranding? Or
Yeah,
Death
that looks
Stranding?
creepy as fuck. It's a weirdo game, and it's like Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead's in it, and Mads Mikkelsen. And it's like people think that he's only made the game so he can publicly announce his homoerotic feelings towards Mads Mikkelsen. Because if you look at Kojima's like Twitter feed, it's nothing but like him being like, "Look at Mads in this frame. He's so delicious," and stuff like that. It's just like, Kojima, calm down, buddy. Like, I don't know what's going on. Isn't that a game that's been like how long will it take for it to actually come out?
It's been being worked on for, like 2-3 years at this point, and we've only had like little teaser shots.
Hey guys, we're at the beginning of the movie again.
Foot fetish shot.
Well, that's
See?
another thing. As well as the power gloves, Steve Fox also gives Jin his quote-unquote signature pants.
Yeah.
That were just pulled out of somewhere, I guess. Maybe.
Well, you know, Steve Fox always knows that someone's gonna need pants.
That was a thing in Rocky 4 as well, wasn't it?
Where Mickey was
That's
like,
the-
"You need my pants," and
Mickey died in
Burgess.
Rocky 3.
Yeah, well, his ghost came
The
back.
character I'm talking about the character that did die in Rocky 4.
No,
Apollo Creed.
I'm saying Burgess Meredith gave him his pants. It was like, "These will fit you, Stallone." I like the idea that Burgess.
Oh, he gave the actor his pants, not the characters.
They're not acting by the point after Rocky 2, and you fucking know it. Like, does it annoy you with the Rocky series that, you know, Rocky 1, when you consider the whole series, is kind of superfluous in the end, because in the end, him and Adrian don't even stay together. Throughout the whole series, like, she's gone by the time Creed and stuff is happening.
Yeah, she's in Rocky 5, but...
Like, their
Yeah,
relationship's
yeah.
just nothing. It's all falling apart. It's all
there's
miserable.
Not really an arc.
So doesn't it make it feel like Rocky 1 is just so, like, superfluous when it comes to everything in the end as a series? Because it's about their relationship and, you know, that's the core strength
I guess
of the
it
movie.
shows. I guess it shows a development of the character of Rocky. I guess
A decline.
Just what we saw there, that's another thing. That they have the news coverage guys of this Iron Fist
Oh, I
tournament.
love those guys.
That's just another random thing that, you know, behind the scenes.
They're
how
not in
they-
the game?
No, this movie really does just show you everything that makes this tournament run smoothly.
Yeah,
things you take for granted if you only play the game. So that's
in the games.
plus to it.
The only voices are the characters fighting, and like the announcer going like round 1 fight.
See, another reason I thought Brian Fury was his dad was he's the only person in the movie who looks old enough to be the dad of a full-grown man, because isn't the actor who plays Kazuya only like 8 years older?
I think it was 4 years older.
4 years older than Jin.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I was like, oh, it must be Brian Fury, because look at him, he's got grey hair a bit, he's got grey tips.
I guess at least Heihachi's old. The actor is Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa.
Oh, that guy's been in everything, I swear. I can't name you one, but you know there's those actors that you're
think-
like, oh, that guy's been in everything.
I think I read it. I think I looked at some actor from this film. I think it was him. Appeared in an episode of Next Generation, which is
I'll take your word.
Well,
I think
thing
everyone's
about
been Next Gen.
Tekken and ages is there's supposedly like 10 years or 20 years between some games, and the characters are still very young looking. Heihachi even gets younger at times.
It's because they're Asian.
Yeah.
Sometimes Asian people just don't age until one day they wake up and they're like those little
70.
old men with like the
remember
wispy
that
long
picture.
beards with no teeth. Yeah, so like, and black don't crack for people like Raven. Raven in this movie is actually 70 years old. I mean, you didn't notice, but he is.
Keeps himself in shape.
Can I ask you a what if question, Ryan?
Okay, what if?
If you were a big fan of the Tekken video game series, and this film was announced and it came out and there were all these changes, could you see yourself enjoying this film?
Well, yes, but it didn't have King, so 4.1 out of 10.
But like beyond the complaint of character I don't like was in it, for what you were given, do you think...
You mean character I like wasn't in it?
Yes, forgive me.
You're forgiven.
Yes. The point I'm making is this film came out and you know the source material. Could you see yourself enjoying it despite characters like you like not being in it?
Yes, I do.
Because that's a big thing with people online. Like it actually became kind of a boring chore for me to go
Hard
through the
to
IMDb
find a review that
reviews.
didn't just mention this isn't like the games.
This isn't like the games.
They
made a movie.
It was the two extremes of people being like, it was different from the games, bad, and then people who wanted to be like the extreme of contrarian.
Right. Did you like his tactics of taking Brian Fury down, which is just punch him a lot?
His robotic armor.
Again, like you said, with things being extremely Japanese, you'll bring up honor, but determination's a big one too.
Oh, that and being a perv.
That and hearing a character go, Akira menai, which means like, don't give up.
Is this wrestling move from our friend Jin?
Is this a game move?
I don't think there's platforming in Tekken.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's a fighting game.
Yeah, but some fighting games do have some little bits that you can run up a little bit.
I guess there are some modes where they put obstacles in the courses.
I mean, Smash Bros is a fighting
I'm not
game,
sure
but
about
you got
the-
levels in that.
Well, I think that one's specifically called a mascot fighter, which takes a bit more, platforming elements and items and stuff.
No, I
I'm
thought it
not,
was
sure, I'm not
'cause-
sure about the science and physics of what Jin just did there with jumping from the high
Well, he
place
has,
and
In
breaking
video
the net,
games, jump
but-
attacks tend to do more damage, like in
But
Zelda.
I do like that way of finishing the fight, because I'm not sure how else your average man would like kill a heavily armored robot.
Oh, magnets.
cyborg.
It's a good thing
Magnets.
Heihachi included that thing to climb on.
He should have just activated like a big electromagnet, and then Brian would have been like. It would have been like in all the Terminator movies. Whenever a magnet's used, it always fucks the Terminator
I
up
think-
until the magnet gets turned off for whatever reason. Like in Terminator 3, the woman's after them, and then she just gets stuck to a magnet, and she's like, and then the magnet gets turned off eventually, and then she's like, I'm up again.
I feel like there's nothing I could do about that, because it's a fight to the death. Clearly, weapons are being used, and clearly the cyborg's illegal anyway. So
Yeah. I mean, another thing to really appreciate when it comes to this movie is I like the fact that our main antagonist here's fight is really short, and he gets his ass kicked really quickly because he is not like a proper fighter like the
Yeah.
rest of them. He's head of security and he can kick
Yeah.
ass, but
So-
not in the same way that Jin and everyone else kicks ass.
He's not Tekken 1 main character who's trained to get revenge, yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing a difference between what I remembered from watching it many years ago and then watching
this.
it last night.
Mhm.
I did remember there was a final fight between these two, Kazuya and Jin.
Mm.
But for some reason, I remembered it more as an equal fight, two people, no weapons, martial arts.
Right.
Because that's how you would think of the games. Kazuya's a martial
Yeah.
artist, Jin's a martial artist.
Yeah,
But he's just like
I've
some-
got axes.
American security guy with axes beating up on an injured opponent.
Well, I mean, it's his son though, so it's okay.
I believe their style is called the Mishima style. Or something like that, so it's like a in-game fighting style.
Just there, the Curse of Mishima Blood, that was maybe a sly reference to the Devil Gene in a movie that doesn't have it. But it does work here as well, because it's just like, Mishima Blood is about revenge and anger. Yeah,
it works nicely. It's a nice little yum moment, It makes you go, okay, for gamers, you could be like, oh, that could be a nice little reference to that, and for laymen like me, it's like, oh yeah, I get what
I believe the most extreme one was earlier when Kazuya blew up Heihachi. He walked away saying, Heihachi Mishima is dead, like very slowly.
Oh yeah, that's a Raven line, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the opening to Tekken 4 or 5, I believe.
5.
Yeah. But in the end, Heihachi isn't dead, as the post-credit stinger lets us know.
Well, in Tekken 5... Did
you see the post-credit stinger?
In Tekken 5, you see what appears to be Heihachi Mishima's death, that line, Heihachi Mishima is dead. Then the game starts and he's not dead, he survived.
So yeah,
so it's not even like an ending twist.
So I think you could say this movie is very faithful to the games. We can end the discussion there.
Heihachi cannot die.
Yep.
In this, Heihachi gets to live because the end post-credit scene is just like...
He said, obey.
Obey, and the guy lowered his gun. And you're like, oh, good, he did obey. I was waiting for the mask to be taken off.
And it's someone.
Yeah. Like maybe it could have been a nice twist, for the fans.
So,
be like,
Steve Fox.
No. He takes off his mask and it's a tiger head underneath, and he's just like, "Yes, sir, I am king."
And the tiger head is bigger than the mask. So how'd that fit?
So do we think Kazuya died here? Because Christie's come in, taking the axe away.
Yeah,
nice
I don't know.
Speech about
I thought he did, because. Isn't it kind of the implication that now Jin's in charge of everything?
I feel like he could be in charge even without the killing Kazuya, because he's a Mishima, he won the tournament.
And people think Heihachi's dead, and it's established that he'd be next in line for succession.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm not sure if this game fully established.
Oh, look, there's his girlfriend.
If you win the tournament, you get to
the one he fucked,
take over the company.
Yeah, it seemed more like... you had to be just a business person to run the company, not the Iron Fist champion.
It did say that both Brian and Yoshimitsu were previous champions, and in the games that would be enough to take over if you wanted. Yeah. But here it seems to be more standard bloodline, Mishima, Kazuma.
That's why he wanted to kill him, because he's...
Saw him as a threat.
He's a threat.
You said Kazuma.
Kazuma.
You said it Kazuya. That's funny because I
was thinking of the surname. Like, for some reason, I just...
Well, one of the big things in Tekken fandom is that there's a specific character that they really want to be in the games, and that's Kazuma Kiryu from the Yakuza franchise.
My Freudian slip. I demand.
It was a Freudian slip of your desire for Kiryu in the game.
Oh, guys, he put down the power gauntlets right next to some boxing gloves. Oh, that's nice. Maybe that's a little...
Oh, that is nice because the boxing gloves is what Steve Fox would use, so it's kind of like a little... I guess that could be kind of a mourn, like a homage.
I guess. I mean,
for the fans.
This movie continues.
I would have preferred if we saw him crying over his grave while doves flew in the air. Like, that's what I'm asking.
And that's the ending. It's like, oh, that was sad.
15-minute funeral scene.
And then John Travolta and Nicolas Cage are fighting each other at a pier next door.
If they did want to do that, they could do like he's crying over the grave, then he like steals his resolve, gets serious, stands up. You can see like a bunch of jackhammers behind him. They're like his subordinates.
So
it's like
the scene here with the Guard of Honor, the jackhammers, and Jin.
Yeah, it's just a reference from earlier.
Maybe not even a reference. It's what makes me think that this game sort of like goes into this movie goes sort of as a prequel into the games.
Yeah.
Tekken 5's canon ending is Jin winning, and I believe his ending has him sit like in front of a bunch of subordinates.
This is very Tekken 6 because you've got Jin in the black coat, although it's a bit more stylish in the games. And then you've got the Guard of Honor with the jackhammers, and implication that he's the leader of the company. So
So it's kind of a mix of the Tekken 3 arc and the Tekken 5 ending.
Although the movie also does its own thing with Jin being the people's champion.
Yeah.
The people's elbow.
It's what this film is saying is boo capitalism, yay communism. That's what it's saying.
That Iron Fist it sort of looked like a communism symbol.
Yeah, no,
people
right?
Power.
It's just not a red fist.
It's not a red one. I like the credits here where they show you the characters and their highlight scenes. Moments. Like, and
their names are sideways, just in case you forgot.
No, it's to make sure that you're not too confused with the other credits that are rolling on the screen.
And the Zs look like Ns.
Do they? Oh, because they're sideways.
Kanuya.
Alrighty, let's get into our reviews and ratings of this feature-length film of Tekken that was released in cinemas, believe it or not.
Yes.
I'll go first. Tekken 2010 or 9, nobody knows. I was happy to see this video game movie, having not heard of it before, believing it to be a joke. When Bartek's like, oh, Tekken, and I'm like, Tekken, sure. Yeah, right, a Tekken movie. I was waiting actually for it to be one of those movies where it would be like the Final Fantasy movie, where it's like that creepy CGI.
Oh, Advent Children.
There is one of those too.
Is that the name?
The animated one?
The most popular like mainstream Final Fantasy movie that has like Steve Buscemi and real actors in it, where it's like creepy CGI,
I didn't
Uncanny Valley, weirdo.
The most known Final Fantasy movie is Final Fantasy VII Advent Children.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, that's the one.
But it has real actors in it, and I thought it was going to be like that, but then it turned into like a real movie with physical humans getting their asses kicked, and I was like, yes, the violence was fun, but not too over the top. It wasn't like they cut off arms and blood's like profusely squirting. I thought it was a really fun time.
Unlike They Call Me Bruce, this one actually did have martial arts.
Exactly. If I had to give this film a rating, which I do, Bartek.
You do.
I would have to give this, it's a real tough one, Bartek. I'd have to give it a good old Luke Goss out of Steve Fox. Or a simple Goss Fox.
Yeah, I was thinking Goss Fox my one, but that's alright.
That's okay. I invented Goss Fox. I get to keep it.
You also invented Brad Rudd, so yeah. When we did Baby's Day Out, there was a character that looked like a fusion of Paul Rudd and Bradley Cooper.
And I called him Brad Rudd.
Oliver and I both came up with two different names, and Ryan came up with a good
generic white guy of all time.
yeah, exactly.
Just didn't have Ryan Reynolds.
No.
Although Ryan Reynolds has kind of separated himself from generic white guy to
especially generic white guy.
Oh, good thing we brought up Ryan Reynolds. Ryan, you recently saw a video game movie. And you've recently seen this one.
Detective Pikachu.
Which one is better?
Well, of course, this is much better. I mean, this is way, way better. Way better. For one, it doesn't have Ryan Reynolds in it, so that's a tick.
It's got Luke Goss, so that's 2 ticks.
That's 2. 1 for each sterling blue eye he has. Bartek, let's hear from you.
I also really enjoyed this film. I remember hearing its bad reputation, and I remember hearing that the only saving grace was, the martial arts was good. But having watched it myself, I was surprised by the fact that they had to put in the whole dystopian setting thing. Because even though it does start with, he's in the slums, Anvil it's called in the film, his arc, this kind of revenge arc and, winning the fights, I feel like, aside from earlier on when he fought martial law, it didn't really play too much into the whole plot. Like, you could have probably left out the dystopian stuff. But it's a really good visual. Like, it's always nighttime. It reminds you kind of Blade Runner and Johnny Mnemonic and other, like, sci-fi related things like that. It's a good visual spectacle. I guess the darkness does kind of hamper some points, and you do have the strobe light scene, so if you're epileptic, you shouldn't watch that one. Just know that no one dies.
I feel like a challenge.
Yeah, see it as a challenge.
You're playing Tekken the movie on hard mode.
Yeah, exactly. You're on God mode.
You're a Tekken lord or whatever. Oh, here's our post-credit scenes for anyone watching with us.
Oh wait, yeah. He's alive. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, that's right.
I forgot that. I remember this more so, but I forgot the indication that Kazuya is alive. Sorry.
With the very poignant pacing back and forth.
With his stomach bleeding. I am Tekken spit came out. Yeah. So Bartek, rating?
Yes, I really enjoyed this film. Characters, there were a lot of differences, but I think that there were bold differences, and it made it its own thing. And you know what? They didn't make a franchise out of this film. There was a sequel, which I think was a prequel.
A sequel, prequel.
A sprequel, with a PH.
A sequel reboot. A sequel reboot. Or a C-boot.
It's standing on its own. It's not claiming to be canon. It's not going to hurt you, diehard Tekken fans.
It's coming to get me at night.
You'll win in a fight with it, probably, but enjoy it while it lasts.
It's going to hurt me with its iron fist.
I give this film a 3-way threesome out of... Bring it home. Shit. What am I? What's the second reference I'm going to bring up?
Don't take mine.
Don't take his.
Okay, I give it a threesome...
A 3-way threesome.
3-way threesome out of Steven's pocket. I don't know.
Steven's pocket?
Damn it, that was mine!
I didn't even know what that means.
I don't know. He brought up "Don't Take Mine," so I was thinking about him.
Oh, I thought you were... of course, Steven as the guest. I thought it was Steve Fox's pocket, who's in the movie. I'm like, don't talk about Steve Fox's pocket. Now...
Steve Fox Bartlett.
Bartlett.
Mr. Stephen Bartlett. Let's hear from you. Your review and rating of this feature-length movie.
Yeah, I can appreciate the things it did different because no matter how good they tried to be, there are some things in the games that just weren't going to translate, like all the different locations around the world per fight.
The Fiji battle theme.
Yeah. All like the breaking underneath underground, like crazy temples. So they did what they could. I appreciated the Iron Fist staff. I appreciated the commentators. I appreciated
the staff.
Yeah, the staff. I appreciated the fight choreography.
Yeah,
Very nice. They did choose for the most part actors that looked like their characters and that fought like their characters. It's always going to be hard to translate some fighting styles like Raven's and Yoshimitsu's, but they did an admirable job. They got people to look the part.
Yeah.
The start part with Jin and Anvil, it kind of reminded me of Mirror's Edge, but I like that game too, so another plus.
What you're saying is they should cast this guy as the girl from Mirror's Edge.
Yes.
You brought up...
Good.
You brought up the choreography. Wasn't there a trivia point that it was done by Chuck Norris's son?
Why not?
I don't remember that because I have this on DVD, but I think it was at my brother's house, so I actually watched this through alternative means.
Wow.
Well, you own it legally.
Can we phone your brother and go, return that copy of Tekken?
Give us the special features.
Now!
But when I did watch it on DVD, I did watch the special features, and I don't remember if it was Chuck Norris's son, but I do remember them talking about how much effort they went to for the fight choreography.
You could tell.
I guess it's like with a lot of movies, like these unappreciated masterpieces, these movies that people just write off.
Oh, yeah.
Have all these thousands of man hours put into it. And in the case of Jin, he's training for months to get the perfect fighting body.
Yeah, he's fucking starving himself and shit.
All for these 5 days.
I mean, you've got Kazuya perfectly sculpting his mustache to be exactly like the game one.
Like the Tekken 8 one. The Tekken 8 one.
The film, yes.
You've got all the determined extras like the Iron Fist staff.
Yeah, man.
The commentators, the hype men, the fans of the death battles and future...
Even jackhammers.
Yeah, so I appreciate all the effort that went into this movie. I appreciate the different perspective on some characters, like two girlfriend player Jin, sex addict Kazuya.
Sex addict who thinks more about company.
Yeah.
I thought you said coming.
Company.
I'm pretty sure he was climaxing as he thought about taking over his company and killing his dad.
Dude, I can't count how many times when I've been fucking two girls at the same time and I've climaxed thinking about taking over my dad's company. It's just... I can't.
Once you do that, you can't
I don't have
back.
enough fingers on my hands, it's just way too many times,
Once you've been there, nothing else is enough.
No, nothing else is enough. Michael Hutchison died choking himself while jerking it. I'll die having a heart attack while banging two girls at the same time, thinking about all the profits I'm gonna have once my dad's dead and I take over the company. That's it. Do you have a rating?
Yeah, I do. All things considered, I think I'll give this 3 dad death climaxes out of 5 Christie's ass panties.
Yes. See, don't steal his reference, okay? So, Bartek,
I had the worst rating.
You've had, okay, then you fight to the death.
With who?
With the other worst ratings you've given on the show.
Okay, well, I'll win and lose no matter what then.
Oh, you're the
It's all
loser.
me.
You're the loser in several episodes, so there you go. Bartek, what is the internet's perspective on this movie? We've gathered some. Let's hear them.
I don't know what the owner of Internet Explorer thinks of this, but I know what internet users think.
But you do know what the owner of Mozilla... Was it Mozilla Fox?
Mozilla Firefox?
Firefox, yeah. What they think of this. 10 out of 10.
Well, I know that Roger Ebert didn't watch this film, so
he was
what's
dead.
wrong with him? It was 2009. He died in 2014, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know. He was dead when he
died this
started
decade.
his career.
He was alive for this film. He didn't see it.
Hello, I'm Roger Ebert. I'm a ghost.
When I looked up Roger Ebert Tekken film, I think it referred me to...
He did the second one.
It referred me to someone who did the Taken 3 film.
Ah, classic.
Yeah. But he was dead by that point, so it was just someone
The
else
one
on
with the
RogerEbert.com.
famous fence jumping scene?
Yes.
Where it's
I've
like
showed that to
15
Stephen.
cuts of him jumping over the fence.
Anyway, I've gathered comments from YouTube and I got a short IMDb review.
Yum yum.
I've tried to avoid too many of the die-hard fan comments, but, you know...
So is the
they
YouTube
get
the
in there.
full movie?
No, it's just a trailer.
I always find them from trailers, but sometimes I go to other videos.
Okay, cool.
Usually I specify when that's the case, but if I don't, it's the trailer.
Hit us in our mustache that we all have.
I do.
Well, no, you have a full beard.
No, I can't... You can't really see it, but I don't grow on the gap between the moustache.
Well, I can't see it. I'm looking, and I see connections.
Bartek should have played...
I'm seriously
Wait,
looking, and
okay.
it's connected, Bartek. Maybe you're thinking of yesteryear you couldn't, but now
Maybe.
you can. You
Maybe
know why, Bartek? You're a man!
Maybe I'm thinking of my brother. I think he doesn't have the connection.
Bartek,
You know, when I think of my own facial hair, I also think, am I my brother? That's
Sure.
what I
Well,
think.
I look at his face more than the mirror, so...
True.
Bartek, how hairy were you in 2009 to 10?
I mean, that's when we started being best friends, so I should ask you, but,
Got him.
Again, he can't answer for himself. He has to think, if I was Bartlett, what level would I perceive Bartek's hairiness?
There is merit to the idea that Bartek
Well, we
should have
went to-
played Miguel Rojo over the guy with no hair, the pretty boy.
To be fair, though, we did go to Catholic high schools that forced me to shave, but I always pushed the line.
It's what Jesus would have wanted. You
As
have
he-
a
as he-
clean face like him, right? Because
what-
Jesus is known for being hairless.
Guys, we have
That's what
Jesus in
Goss
every
wanted.
room of this school. Why can't I be like him? Anyway, the first YouTube comment I've got is, and they're very on point, Chun-Li sucks. She is only in Street Fighter. Tekken!
I was going to say, isn't she from the other one?
Yeah.
Chun-Li sucks.
She's only in Street Fighter, full stop, then all caps, Tekken.
Good.
I'd say that's a fair criticism. Like, I mean,
So that's a
she
10
is-
out of
she's
10.
not in this movie, so
So it
That's
does.
true.
So Tekken.
Next comment. Why would you all want to just watch the same thing over again? CGI would have just been the same damn thing over again. It's hard to turn a CGI video game or TV show to a live action movie. They wanted to reinvent the damn thing.
preach.
And I'm a huge ass Tekken fan, so stop whining like a little bitch. Just like the Immortals movie, they totally reinvented the story of the gods and made them more human-like, and I love the shit out of it. People like you guys, who cry and whine without an E, are not true Tekken fans.
Right. I love that you also think that, like, I love that the whine without an E, it's also without a H, I guess, because isn't when you whine,
Yeah, whine is...
W-H-I-N?
Yeah, he spelt whining correctly, but
Or is that whinge?
wine is just without an E. H,
Oh,
so
it does have the H. Okay,
yeah.
okay, fine.
it just doesn't have the E, so it's... Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that they had a lot to say. I don't know what the Immortals
yeah, me neither.
movie is. Is that a game? Is he talking
That-
about Immortal City?
Not sure.
Immortal City of Bones or whatever that YA novel
I don't know, but
was?
they were very passionate.
That review is very passionate, and I'm curious to what that gentleman, how many,
Beers?
how
Needles?
many,
Also- To give them some credit, no capital letters in that entire comment.
so how many dad death climaxes would that guy give this movie? Do you think?
4 out of 5.
Oh, he was really into it. He might have given it higher than you, even.
Let's hit it from the next one.
The next one is one that we all...
Ready!
We all
Fight!
we all agree with this comment. Oh, Jin, ...
Wait, is George Takei reading
Don't
this?
finish it. Don't. Let me finish. Oh, Jin ... Woof.
It was George Takei then. Oh, Jin.
Is George K?
Woof.
Is he gay? So would that
Oh, he's very gay.
okay. Okay.
He actually has a whole campaign where it's like, don't say gay, say Takei. It's a whole campaign he has.
okay.
You
So-
can buy it on merch. It's
Was
so
that the
good.
whole review?
Yeah, that's the whole.
That's the whole comment.
That's the whole
That's
comment.
That's the
to the
shortest
point.
comment I have. I've still got 3 more comments though.
Hit us.
Man.
Fight!
Man, it's a really cool movie. I've got the movie. Nice babes in it too. XD.
Fight!
Was the XD with a small X or a big X?
Both letters capital.
Ooh. We both reacted like, ooh, that's a shock.
You know,
business.
a lowercase d would make it like an X eyes, but like tongue out kind of thing. So no. This next comment, every sentence is a new line.
I'm right. I'm good.
This movie are terrible. Every in this movie are wrong. Whole story of Tekken is about revenge, right, guy? Just watch Tekken, Blood Vengeance, and Tekken anime movie.
Is that Roger Ebert's burner?
Yeah, that's Roger Ebert pretending to not be himself on YouTube.
So are you guys going to answer the question, which was the third sentence?
Yes.
Whole story of Tekken is about revenge,
My
right,
answer was
guy?
yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. And the final YouTube comment that I have is, okay, here's my final diagnosis.
he's putting on rubber gloves for a second, like surgical gloves. Here's my final diagnosis.
He's putting on Jin's power gloves.
Here's my final
Rubber gloves that look like Jin's power gloves. Okay, here's my final diagnosis. They got the characters right. They put an exclamation at the end of that. The whole concept of the Iron Fist tournament, but the story may be inaccurate. I'll buy it anyway. I may not be perfect, but I don't give a shit.
That's
Some passion.
Can I get a referral to a different doctor? That's what I would say.
Oh, they're not a doctor.
You imagine just walking to a...
But their final diagnosis is...
Yes.
Could you imagine just walking to a surgery clinic and the surgeon just puts on Jin's power gloves?
And he says that to you. He says that to you while you're going under the anesthesia. You're like,
and the surgeon thinks that you know Tekken, so you're like, oh no, it's an Iron Fist reference, and you're thinking like, what?
And he's just wearing Iron Fist stuff.
And then above you leans over you, Heihachi, and he's just like, obey!
He just leans in,
And then you put down your gun that you have.
I am Tekken.
and spits in your eye.
It's like, what the fuck, guys? I just want surgery.
Guys, I'm dying.
I have an IMDb review.
It better be good.
There was
10 out of 10.
Like I said, there was a lot of boring ones. This one, I think, stands out.
Is it champ?
I think from most of the ones I skimmed over, they needed that YouTube comment to tell them off about being a Tekken fan.
Is this the Iron Fist champion we're going to get?
The king of the Iron Fist tournament. This one isn't a 10 out of 10 one. It's a 7 out of 10 review, but it's very positive.
That's okay.
It is called, just wanted to say, Luke Goss GJ, man!
I don't know what that means.
I think GJ means good job.
He did do a good job.
It is from the 6th of August 2010 and is a 7 out of 10 review. And it's not too long. It may sound strange, but I'm a recent fan of Tekken, in brackets the game, of course.
Oh.
The thing what anyone would expect is there. No less! As most of the movie titles based on VG at the time like this was a fresh breeze. Breeze of fists and kicks! Of course, no one could expect all the fighters with their unique styles, but spelt like Ryan Styles' last name, to know why. Unique skills to come and entertain us, but what we have is good enough for me. I wrote this mostly to point how great the performance of Luke Goss was. Hope the movie business recognizes you man further. Don't expect Shawshank's deepness or the Matrix innovations with one N. If you are a fight movie fan, watch this. ... Fun is what we need. ... Peace!
Okay, they had a lot to say.
That's the review.
It felt very poignant, and I have one thing to say to that. Fight! So,
are you a fight movie fan?
Are you a fight movie fan?
Fight movie fan. Of course, I've seen movies that have fighting in them.
I do like breeze of fists and kicks.
Oh, that was the best line. You should put that on the cover of the DVD that Stephen already owns. Like, it just when you get it back from your brother, you see that's on the cover, and you're like, wait a moment, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. You ask your brother, did you put this on here? And he's just like, no.
Hello, this review was written in 2010.
I hope the fists and kicks aren't referring to our friend Goss Fox with his boxing style.
No, I hope not. So that's it, listening people.
That's the episode.
We have covered the film, we've covered the internet, and we're at the point in which we're doing the old Rapparooney, you've been a wonderful guest filling us in on the Tekken lore, Steven.
Thank you.
Steve-O, Stevie, Steve Fox joined us, actually. It was secretly
Steve
him all
Fox.
along.
What was his last name again? Bartlett?
It kept changing because
Steve
you were unhappy
Goss,
with
Fox,
my...
Bartlett.
And Bartek, or Super Tech. I know it's a
Yes.
secret, though, listening people. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone.
You say it like the like in Who Killed Captain Alex, though, like Super Tech. Super Tech.
Super jump.
Yeah, they're actually...
Movie!
There were characters in the Tekken series that were...
In Who
characters...
Killed Captain Alex?
No. Characters that previously were in the game, but they're in disguise. Like,
Nice.
the character we mentioned earlier, Lee, has a flamboyant alter ego named Violet.
Of course.
And there's a character named Julia who is like a masked fighter in a later game.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the famous cooking show host Julia Stiles.
Oh, yeah, there's
Julia
also-
Gillard.
And of course, the former Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard.
This movie had a lot of things with parents and dad death climaxes and stuff, but
It was Star Wars.
one thing it was missing was the fact that in Tekken there is Julia Chang, her mother Michelle Chang,
Yeah.
and the sumo wrestler who wants to bang them both.
That's right, yes. Michelle...
Well, we had close thing where two sisters got banged by one guy in this.
Yeah, during his dad death
in
climax.
In
It's
Tekken,
close.
in Tekken 1, the mum, Michelle, and the sumo wrestler Gun Ryu are both in that. And between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, there's a big, time skip, and that's where Jin was born and all that. And Julia's introduced after that time skip, and all of a sudden, this sumo wrestler is now after the...
Close enough.
Close enough. So you guys have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful listening people as always. You can find us on social medias of Facebook and Twitter under Spit and Polish Presents. We're on YouTube. We've got nearly 1,300 followers on that at the moment.
Yes, I checked yesterday, we're on 1.2k at least.
So we're ratcheting up.
Subscribers at least.
You were ratcheting up on the subscriber, so you can join that too, Spit and Polish Presents. We're on all the podcast platforming or podcast catchers, they call them now. We're catching them all.
Oh, yeah,
We're on
catchers.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, all those good things, except for Groove Shark. We don't want you, Groove Shark. We're not on there, so don't look for us on there, but we're on all the rest of them. And you can give us a rating and review, and shout us out to all your friends, and be like, hey, you're a big Tekken fan, and they're like, yeah, I am. Well, these guys did a review of the Tekken movie. Did they? Yes, they did. What are their names? Spit and Polish Presents. Oh my God, you're going to check
Super
them
Tech
out?
was in the episode.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so you're going to check it out? Nah. That's how
too
it
long,
goes.
too long.
It's too much. It's too much.
Too complicated.
Too complicated. Unappreciated what? Forget that.
Too long.
So until next time, listening people, remember that Bartek's Super Tech, okay?
What?
It's a secret, but you got to remember it, because if you're brought into a court of law and they put you in a trial and you have to testify the truth, you have to remember to lie, because you're not supposed to tell them that it's Bartek, okay? He needs immunity from this, okay? I mean,
Ryan, you've just compromised your safety. Now they know who's close to me.
It's okay. I have a secret identity too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Bartek. I'm you.
You do look like Soft Hey Ryan now that I think
I'm
of it.
soft. Hey. So until next time, people, remember to be kind to each other, or else.
Well, Stephen wanted to say something, so...
Oh, hit us, Steve.
I was just wondering if your secret identity would be Ryan with a PH.
Of course. With a
Ryan.
Ryan.
So if this episode was a competition and we all had a different ending for winning, what would our endings be for this episode?
Well, Bartek, yours would of course be snapping Zod's neck brutally and
yes.
screaming.
My favourite comic book characters.
Well, you're super, Bartek.
Super, I guess so.
You've already nailed it. Mine would be that I get a pet bear, and then my bodyguard, and of course Stephen. He gets to be upgraded from Stephen to Stephen with a V. That's his ending. Like he gets a V, just a gold V put on his chest, and he's like, yes.
You only just met him, but he doesn't like the V spelling.
I'm trying
of
to
the name.
Tough. It's what you get upgraded.
So you get a tragic ending.
He gets or like it's a tragic ending, but also an uplifting ending, because Stephen's learned to grow beyond the bigotry of being anti-V.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that people rebel against him is to call me Bart, which I'm not a fan of.
Oh.
What's a name you don't like, Ryan? You can have one as well.
No, I never
Oh
called
no, wait,
him
Ryan's
that.
too short to have a short name, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm soz about that. I never get
Brian.
nicknames either, so
You get
yeah,
Ryan's worth.
let's just say Brian. I don't like when people think when I say, "Oh, I'm Ryan," and they go, "Brian?"
Oh wait,
I'm like,
a teacher used to call
Ryan.
You, a teacher used to call you Reese, right?
Reese. Let's say my hated name is Reese. So you get awarded the name Bart, he gets Stephen with a V, and I'm called Reese.
And for some reason, him winning the podcast is the result of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the result of it. Episode's over. Tekken. Peace.